Well, good afternoon, everybody. Hope everybody's having a fun Thursday. Hope work wasn't too brutal on everybody. Hope everybody's got their alcohol or their Kool Aid or their water, whatever the fuck you drink. It doesn't matter. But I'm here with a very special guest, somebody I've actually been wanting to talk to for a while, and finally got out of the fucking cold feet zone and reached out. And of course, like an absolute fucking boss, he's like, "Yeah, sure, let's come on." And so I want to introduce him. I want him to be able to tell you a lot about the work he's doing because this guy is doing the Lord's work on the Nintendo Switch. And so this is Nintendo Revised, and he's going to tell you a little bit about himself before we get rocking and rolling here. Go ahead and let him know, man.
All right. Well, thank you for having me on first and foremost and reaching out to me. Really, no need to have cold feet with me, man. And just ask me anything or ask me to come on something like this. I'm more than willing to do so. But yeah, I'm the admin for Nintendo Revised. I actually started this group about a year ago, I want to say, and I started going on to Twitter potentially like 5 months ago, something like that, maybe a little bit longer.
Right.
But the purpose of the of Nintendo Revive, it all started because I started hearing rumblings from a couple of people saying that Nintendo reprints their cartridges, and a lot of these cartridges have their more up to date patches on the cart. So a lot of the cartridges, when they first come out, they usually come out with like version 1.0, and then they reprint them to have, say, version 1.2 on the cart or 1.4, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah,
So
as if we didn't need more of a reason to not fucking buy day one, right?
exactly, exactly. So somebody suggested, or actually, when I started doing research on it, I started going on eBay looking for listings and trying to see if this was accurate information. I ended up finding out that it was. And as I started delving more and deeper into it, I just became fascinated with the world of these revisions or reprints. And somebody suggested to me, why don't you start a group? And I was like, well, hey, I will. Because I was sharing this type of information with all kinds of Nintendo groups. And I finally created my own thing. And now I have moderators and other admins that help me out and update the spreadsheet that you, of course, mentioned earlier that you linked in the bio. But yeah, we've been developing the spreadsheet for like a year now. We have, I don't know, like 2,700 games on there now. Third party, first party, indies, all kinds of stuff. And yeah, it's a work in progress, and it's going to become something really useful in the future, I think.
Oh yeah, no, you're building a temple for sure, man. You're absolutely building a temple, something that's going to last a long time. And if the games industry was smart, their goal would be to make that entire chart as green as it possibly can be, you know. But
Right.
I don't think they're looking at that. In fact, I don't think they even care anymore. And so I guess that's part of what I
No.
want to get into. But before we get into that, tell everybody a little bit about because I've always shared my story and I've shared it for like the millionth fucking time on here. How I got into the hobby, and essentially it was playing Mario Brothers with my dad on a used NES that showed up, and
Yeah.
he brought home one day, and that was kind of my entry point into games. So how did you get into this wonderful hobby of ours?
It actually started on Sega Dreamcast.
Oh my gosh!
Well,
Okay,
yeah. Uh, so
nice.
my parents, unfortunately, they didn't have the money as I was growing up to really buy me video games and stuff. And I would dabble, so to speak, like with the Sega Genesis, Super Nintendo, at my cousins or my friend's house and things like that. But as far as like owning a console and having something to play with at home, that didn't actually occur until the Sega Dreamcast.
Okay,
And the way that happened was that my father decided, I'll buy you this console, but you have to work for it and you have to pay for it, basically. So it was kind of like a loan type of thing, and I paid him back. And so yeah, he bought me the Dreamcast. I was a Sonic fan by this point because
okay.
a friend of mine had a Genesis, and uh, and so I got Sonic Adventure, and Sonic Shuffle, which is a terrible game, but that's beside the point. But yeah, I delve into hours and hours on Sonic Adventure, and I just became addicted to video gaming, and it's been it's been like that ever since. I was 12 at this point in my life, and
Okay.
now I'm 36. So
Oh,
I've been in the in this game for a
in yeah, I was gonna say in gamer years, you're getting up there like me. You're pretty close to
yeah.
me. So, yeah, we're old men in gamer years, 100%.
Yeah, man,
So
I already have gray hairs and everything, so
they're
I
starting to pop up, starting to accumulate for
yep,
sure. Was Sonic
yep.
Adventure your first game on the Dreamcast?
It was. Sonic
Awesome.
Adventure was the first one, and I always had this need also to like try to 100% games, and that kind of started then, where I would try to get like all the emeralds, all the emblems, all of that stuff.
Ah,
And
okay.
so yeah, that's part of me also. Like I try to complete. Like I'm a completionist in a way.
Now
Uh,
do you think that completionist angle in terms of the way you play games do you think that translated into your work on that spreadsheet? You know, wanting to have the complete game on
mhm.
disc. You think that's part of that?
Yes, yes. I definitely think it plays a major part. I don't know, man. Like I've always had this need where I just don't feel like I've gotten the most out of something unless I go full throttle at it. You know what I mean? So
It's
in a way, I
pretty
kind of
common with
feel like
gamers. Yeah.
yeah, and in a way, I think that's what's helped get the spreadsheet to where it is today. Because if I hadn't honestly, like I said, I wasn't the first one to discover revisions. I had heard rumblings from other people, but nobody actually had started something like this. And with my type of personality and the fact that I just want to go full throttle into something, that's what really set the things in motion.
Well, yeah, you're actually it was a few channels that really got me hooked into this, and at this point, I already had a
Mhm.
fucking sunk cost of probably 200 fucking Switch games by the time I figured this shit out. So
Yeah.
a damn shame in some ways, but yeah, I came to you guys a little bit later into my Switch collecting. It was you, and it was a channel called Does It Play, and it was
Okay.
Emily from Orbology actually hit really kind of was the first place I think I heard this drumbeat going as far as like the hey, they actually revise Switch cards. So if you buy early, there's a
Yeah.
chance that you might not have everything that comes later. So
And I
so
was actually going to ask you like how you heard of us, my team, and now that makes sense because I remember that Emily did post a video and mentioned my spreadsheet on there.
yeah, that's where I first heard it, and then been following you guys ever since because now hindsight's 2020 on those 200 sunk cost games I've already got, but
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
future I kind of want to watch it. Now there's an added wrinkle for me because the thing is I'm not so much as interested in having the complete game.
Hmm.
As much as I'm interested in having the best possible version of that game. And to me, these aren't
Right.
always the same thing. But
No, no,
oftentimes,
it's not.
they are. And so your
Right.
chart has been an invaluable resource for me. The only and again the only reason I would even deviate from that at all is sometimes they'll like some like duplicate glitches. There's
Hmm.
glitches they'll patch out that actually to me make the game a little more entertaining or a little more fun. So I want to keep that in there.
Right.
But
Right.
sometimes it's at the expense of having like legitimate breaking bugs and crashes and all the other shit that
Yeah.
comes with the
Yeah.
modern gaming landscape. And so if I got to
Right.
go with one or the other, it's like, yeah, patch that shit out. Give me the game that isn't going to randomly fucking crash on me and ruin my
Exactly.
2 hours of game time. So absolutely building a monument to physical game collecting. I love the work you've done, and I look
I
forward to seeing
appreciate
it
that.
develop. And I look forward to seeing more and more of that turn green, as hopefully we as some consumers can put some pressure on these bastards because that's the thing to me is and maybe it's just me, but it seems like in general it seems like they've boiled the frog. Do you know what I mean by that when it comes to gamers?
Like the companies have boiled the frog.
Yeah, like they've
Oh yeah.
slowly turned
Oh
up the
yeah.
temperature because I remember a time
Oh yeah.
distinctly. I called it the gaming's day of Lavos when the Xbox One, the Xbone, debuted
Hmm.
to a mortified games press and video game fans. And I remember that coming into play and everybody just panning the shit out of that. Don Matrick becoming overnight the most hated guy in this hobby. And
Yeah.
here we are just a decade later or so, and gamers have the worst case of Stockholm syndrome I've ever seen in my life. Like,
And you know what's funny about that? Um, what's funny about that is that even though there was such a big uproar with the Xbox One, technically speaking, the Xbox One and the Series X still have its issues. And the main thing that does it play and we talk about this all the time. Um, you have to have an internet connection just to set the thing up. So in a way, we're still living in this DRM through Xbox, and I think a lot of people have just gotten used to it at this point, and it's horrible. Honestly, I hate it.
well, and I never did get, and that's, I guess, my first lesson to everybody, if y'all can do it, and that is don't let yourself get used to it. So to
Right?
kind of
Yeah. Yeah.
lead everybody to my story, and we do have some people coming in here. Looks like Phil One Up Collects is here. Says, "Hey boys, what's up?" He's doing a
What's
fantastic
up? What's
job.
up?
Same with everyone that does it play, absolutely. And then Obsidious is here, says, "What's up, guys? Nintendo Revised supporter here. Welcome, welcome in, man. Thanks for
Nice.
popping in, and
Thank you.
hope we give you guys a good discussion." And Mad Belmont just popped in. What's going on, Belmont? This is the
Nice.
if
Nice.
you haven't met Mad Belmont, dude, this is like the Castlevania guy. This dude
Nice.
can do things with holy water that you wouldn't fucking believe. It'll make your girlfriend squeal. Like
Love me
what
some Castlevania.
100%. Yeah, I do too. And it's actually what me and Belmont were talking about. Everybody loves Castlevania, but we just got to get it to translate into the sales now. Like, that's the thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it just doesn't seem to do it. But anyway, anyway, back on track. So yeah, and the thing I always talk about is let's not get used to this. So to give my story again for the thousandth fucking time, um, I came into this hobby in the right at the tail end of the NES era.
Mhm.
Jumped into the Genesis Super Nintendo. Um,
Mhm.
kind of took some time off. My dad had a Nintendo 64 for Shadows of the Empire, but I never really got into the N64 like everybody else did. I played a lot of the bigger games at times, but it never was my thing. And
Right.
the GameCube really wasn't my thing. Never owned the DVD player. Never, in terms of that. My experience with Xbox literally basically goes down to Halo LAN parties, for
Mhm.
the most part. But in general, my point with this is don't be afraid to skip generations. Like, if the game companies aren't doing something you want them to do, walking away as a customer is the best possible weapon you have. And sometimes the
Oh,
only weapon you
absolutely.
have. I walked away from the Wii U as well. I took a break in between the Wii U generation and the Switch generation because Nintendo simply wasn't doing what I felt like they should be doing. And if everybody would at least do that, now it could be that I'm just too fucking picky. And most of these, for most gamers, this is all this shit's okay, and I'm totally open to that possibility. And I just want to throw that out there. I have nothing against people who buy digital games, even though I don't. Nothing against people who buy
Mhm.
digital games whatsoever. I want that choice to be there. In fact, digital games
Sure.
are essential to true games preservation because there's some games that's the only way we're going to be able to preserve those games. But don't take away my fucking choice and ramrod
Right.
me into this future where there's only digital games because I'm not going to be, I won't have any damn ultimatum put to me. I'll just leave. And again, I point to entire generations of gaming where I just left console gaming. I said, see ya, sayonara, don't need you. And I walked out of there because honestly, God, at the end of the day, guys, we're not just gamers. We have other hobbies, or we should have other fucking hobbies. And never be afraid to leave a toxic relationship. And I feel like that's what we're being kettled into and domesticated into is a very hostile relationship with these companies that don't really give a fuck about our consumer experience. They don't care about us having the same magic with our families as we had with as we had with our mom and dad or with our brothers and sisters. They don't care about me and my kids experience these same hobbies. So why do I give a shit about them and their families? And the answer is I don't, and I don't have to. I'll walk away and I will let the gaming market implode, which is what's going to happen. A lot of people think that when it goes all digital, that game developers are going to be able to control things, and that's very well true. But what happens when anything becomes a full commodity? The prices collapse. And that's what will happen because the thing is, you can only sell a $60 game if people are willing to pay $60 for that game. If the customer's not willing to pay $60 for the game, there's nothing that can make them do it. So I think
Well,
that,
we don't even have to look very far, man, because I think I mentioned it to you earlier or someone on Twitter. But with it, this is literally happening with movies right now. Not only are DVDs and 4K Blu-rays and all of that being phased out as it is through Best Buy, we've already seen the news about that. Potentially, Walmart's going to follow suit. Target has a very small, minuscule amount of movies in their stores at this point. It's sad. It's sad, but the problem is that we and I'm part of the problem because I've had Netflix, I've had Hulu, I've had Disney Plus, et cetera, et cetera. But we kind of went into this digital thing and now into the streaming void, right? And what's the biggest issue with that is, and I've really began to catch on over the last couple of months that this is what's happening. They continue, not only did they start splitting up into like so many different streaming services that now, in order to watch everything you could ever possibly want to watch, you're going to have like 10 or 12 different streaming services. It used to be to where you could have Netflix and Hulu and you were pretty much set, right? Well, now you have to have all of these streaming services to have access to the movies that you want to watch, and then they're slowly creeping up the prices. So I have Disney Plus currently, and they just sent me an email like a month ago where the prices are going up. Netflix, I saw on the news that they're going up.
mhm.
Like their premium is going to about $20 a month, is which is crazy to me because it used to be really cheap. And so they're beginning to price people out, and eventually what's going to end up happening, I think, is people are just going to say, you know what, screw it, I'm not paying for the all of these streaming services, we'll only pick one and that's it. And a lot of these streaming services are struggling as we speak, like HBO Max is struggling,
Mhm.
my understanding. Paramount Plus is struggling. And a lot of these other streaming services are struggling because they can't keep all the customers there. And then on top of that,
Well,
now
that's
DVDs
because
are going away
yeah, it's
too.
because each stream literally has like 2 or 3 fucking shows any one person cares about.
Exactly. And then on top of that, when I had Netflix, I literally could scroll through that thing for hours and not figure out what I wanted to watch because there's so much junk on there too that I'm like, I don't really care. So what's the point of me keeping this? You know, I would rather have a DVD of something that I actually want to watch.
Now,
And I
yeah,
could
well, absolutely, and that's what I do on the back end. Like, so for example, like on Netflix, for example, I care about Cobra Kai because and if you don't care about Cobra Kai, you should. It's amazing, guys. But I that's off the top of my head, and like whatever the fuck Mike Flanagan's cooking up for Halloween. And
hmm
and that's pretty much what I care about on Netflix. And so if that comes out with a DVD or a Blu-ray, I'll support it there. But in the meantime,
exactly.
but you can replicate that across every one of these streaming platforms. There's a few I care about, most of them I don't. And as far as the classic movies, I've got that covered on a Blu-ray collection already. I've got a huge Blu-ray collection of all kinds of
Sure.
the classic films, everything from Yojimbo to fucking Die Hard. Like, love that shit. But I guess my question to everybody is: have you heard of our Lord and Savior piracy before? Have you ever heard of that? I'm not fucking shy about talking about it. Like, you motherfuckers want to force us into this. All you're doing is giving us more and more of a reason to pirate. Now, most people don't want to pirate shit. Most people, because it's fucking
No.
inconvenient. You risk viruses. It's a
Or
pain in.
brick in a console.
Yep, it's a pain in the ass. Well, if you have a PC, you don't risk bricking shit. That's what's great.
No, right.
But
But
but you but you
consoles, yeah.
but you risk all kinds of shit when doing it. But the more these guys digitize and the more they decentralize and make us pay all these different fees, they are rapidly encouraging piracy. Like, they're doing it. Um, that's why piracy exists. If you would just have a convenient one-stop go, which is what Netflix was, where everybody
Sure.
they license the shit out to everybody. Everybody makes a little bit, but everybody got greedy. Netflix got greedy with what they were withholding from these companies, and these companies got greedy with what they were demanding Netflix pay. And they said, "Hey, we'll go do our own service." And now the end result is that they're all struggling. They're all bifurcated. The customer bases are all
Hmm.
bifurcated. And now you've turned what was a blue ocean disruptive innovation that was just cramming it to movie theaters, and you've turned what was a red ocean, a blue ocean, into a fucking red ocean where there's so much blood in the waters from all the infighting over a smaller and smaller customer base. I
Yep.
don't think it was smart. I think in the long run, I think we are. Yeah, and Rush Dog makes a good point. Welcome to the stream, Rush. He says piracy is out in the open like never before. So many emulation devices are readily available from sites like Amazon and stuff like Miu. Yeah,
Hmm.
100%. Yo ho ho, and a bottle of rum, which is actually what I'm drinking tonight. So tonight's drink for me is going to be El Dorado 21-year rum. And if you've never tried this, now I actually, believe it or not, hot take, I like the 15-year better. Actually, I think it has a little bit more of a sweetness to it, which I value in rum. It's a little drier, but beggars can't be choosers. I didn't have any 15-year. I had 21-year, and so that's what I'm having tonight. And you said you're not a drinker, but what do you have tonight? What do you have in water, Kool-Aid? What you have?
Just a Coke Zero.
Coke Zero. Well, perfect.
Yeah.
Keep it low calorie. That's the way to do it. So
Yeah.
exact opposite of what I'm fucking drinking, which is like pure distilled fucking sugar cane. So
I'm currently trying to be on a diet because I'm trying to lose some weight. So
oh yeah, no, that's 100%. I'll tell you what else will do that is jujitsu rolls though. That's what the girlfriend. That's what the fucking girlfriend's got me doing. Oh my god.
I'll tell
But
you one thing: playing video games on my butt doesn't help a lot. Just sitting here playing stuff, and
well, and that's what's great about
yeah,
the Nintendo
makes
Switch is like you can go on a hike and do it as well.
yeah.
Gaming on the go is fantastic for sure. But anyway, so let's got a little bit of chats coming in, so let's just roll through these chats and catch up real quick, and then we'll kind of talk a little further on this. So yeah, Belmont's in the house, and then Rush Dog says Belmont is the goat. Yeah, we were talking about that. Like literally, he can do tricks with holy water that'll make your girlfriend blush, guys. Like this dude is OP when it comes to Castlevania, 100%. And also bragging about like on Mario Brothers 3, and he's got like fucking 40 lives in World 7. Like, what the fuck, man? Like, you are good. You are really good. Um, um, and he says, why do you think I haven't gotten a PS5 or an Xbox Series console? Yep, 100% behind you. Exactly, same thing. Aside from
Although to be fair, between the two of those, I think the PS5 is handling it better, with the exception of the new Slim. Well, that's a separate conversation, but
right, right. Well, the thing is, Sony is slowly being pulled into that Xbox way of thinking, and I've watched it happen over several generations. Very sad thing to watch because
yeah,
Sony's never made the kind of games I'm typically interested in, but I always respected Sony because whether you like Sony or not, whether you love the DVD player or you hate the DVD player, it will probably always be the best-selling game of all time when population growth is accounted for. Like, there's nothing gonna fucking top that system ever. Like the combined units of that and the PlayStation, what was it? PSP, PlayStation Portable. Yeah, if you account for
yeah,
population growth, there's nothing touching the DVD player and the PlayStation Portable. Nothing. So my hats off. This is a company that knows that has proven time and time again they have the ability to make and sell a video game console successfully. And so mad respect
yeah,
to that. With Microsoft, they've never really shown that with the exception of the original Xbox where they tried. And to my knowledge, Xbox has never actually turned a profit because that wasn't the intent of
no,
Xbox. The intent of Xbox was they got scared to death from Ken Kataragi talking about the PlayStation like a fucking computer, and they basically made Xbox as a shield initiative in order to basically disrupt Sony from moving into the computer PC hardware space, and it worked. It actually worked. Now Sony releases their games on Windows. So as long as Sony's
yeah,
doing that, as long as Sony doesn't give a fuck about having exclusive games, The box is just a box you buy to get to Mario. Yamauchi said that best. Who was the first president of Nintendo, said it's just a box you buy to get to Mario. Game Boy's a box you buy to get to Tetris. If you don't have Tetris and you don't have
Yeah.
Mario and you can get Mario fucking everywhere, why the hell am I going to buy your box? It's an empty box.
Yeah.
You know, little kids
Yeah.
like to play in empty boxes, but I don't. I want to play video games. That's why we buy the consoles. So, as long as Sony
Right.
continues on their trajectory of not giving a shit about first party exclusives and wants to port everything to PC, hey, when that GOG sale or that Steam sale goes on heavy, people are going to take advantage of that 100%. Now you can get. I think at one point you get God of War for like $18. Like, yeah, it's
That's so crazy.
yeah, and so it's sad. It's really fucking depressing watching what happened to Sony, and I hate it because I want Nintendo to have some actual competition because that's what makes great games. The fact that Nintendo doesn't have any competition right now, it shocks me that they're doing as well as they're doing. Because to me, there's just there's no competition right now. You've got these two, you've got Microsoft, which has always been a Shield initiative, and you got Sony that has basically abandoned the entire console trajectory in favor of like Microsoft being a dumbed down PC connected to a television set. And I
Hmm.
don't know. What do you think? It's fucking depressing to me. Like,
No, I mean, I absolutely hate it. Well, first of all, when it comes to Microsoft or Xbox, I agree. I think with the original Xbox, they did try. I think the 360 also
yeah,
they did, but they started heading in
exactly.
a
It
certain
it
direction
always gets
with
bad
360.
when it's still good.
Yeah, with 360, I started seeing a shift, of course, because that's when they really started this whole online thing, which was great at the time. Obviously, like we got to play together online, not having to sit by each other, especially with friends that are like super far away. I've met many people through online gaming, so I love the prospect of being online and meeting new people. That's great. But they also that's when they started the whole DLC stuff. And so not all the game content was going to be on the disc because you could download the DLC additionally afterwards. But at first it wasn't so bad because it was like, well, you're getting a little bit more out of the game than what you would have originally gotten. So it wasn't so bad. But then they go into Xbox One, and then, like I said, you have to be online just to even set the thing up with Xbox One and Series X. I got to the point with Microsoft that I just don't see the point of buying physical games for them anymore because they're literally just keys. That's it. They virtually have no data on the disc. Most of it is downloaded online anyway.
Yeah.
So what's the point? With PlayStation, they still have, you know, things that you could play off the disc, and Spider-Man 2 is a great example, although it's a buggy mess apparently. But the
Spider-Man.
game is
Wait, wait,
there.
wait. Spider-Man 2 is a buggy mess.
As far as like without the patch, like without patches and
Oh
playing it strictly offline,
damn. Oh
it is
man.
a buggy mess. And unfortunately, it's already on Does It Play. They've put it on the website, but apparently there's a lot of soft locks that happen throughout the game.
Okay.
Uh, where you could be in a mission and you have to restart the entire mission over again because for some reason a character just bugs out or you're unable to move anywhere. So there's a lot of bugginess with the physical disc itself. So
Well,
that in itself presents problems. You know what I mean?
100%,
Um,
and that's one of the problems with what I think I don't want to give the wrong person credit. I want to misattribute, but it's either Juice Man Vaughn or on Twitter or it's DK Gaming. I'm not sure which. I think it's Juice Man Vaughn who calls these Sony type games, the cinematic style Sony games, these popcorn ass games. That's the problem with these popcorn ass games is that every single set piece has to be in the exact right place or the whole thing breaks down. Like
yeah,
that's the
yeah,
only problem. Like
it's
if
true.
if one piece of code zigs where it should have zagged, game doesn't work.
Hmm.
It's one of
No,
the
I agree, and
it
the only
looks like
one,
butter in motion, but that there's a
yeah,
reason for that. It's because what's going on is actually very fucking limited.
yeah. But to me, the only one that's I'm not gonna say they're doing it fully right because they're not, and I can sit here and actually give you actual criticisms of the Switch.
Oh yeah.
But out of the three consoles, which I have all three, I use Microsoft or the Xbox Series just
Hmm.
for Game Pass. Literally, I use it for Game Pass to test the game out. If I like it, I go buy it on Switch. Is generally what I do.
Good
Um,
strategy.
PS5 for those exclusives because I don't have a PC, so
Right.
I use PS5 for like the Spider-Man 2s, The Last of Us, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, they're exclusive
But
to
this,
you at that point. Yeah.
right, right. But but to me, out of the three, coming back to what I was saying, is that they are at least seemingly trying to do physical correctly as of right now. Unfortunately, I was listening to your last podcast, and I do agree with both Phil and you that that's eventually going to change. I don't think Nintendo's going to stick it out forever and ever. They're eventually going to have to go with the trend, and the trend, unfortunately, is digital and streaming. That's just what it is. Because a lot of the casual market is going in that direction, and it sucks for us, but that's just what it is. So Nintendo is eventually going to go in that direction, but as of right now, to me, physically, they're the only ones that are doing things at least somewhat properly.
Yeah.
Um, Going back to the whole revision thing, if if there's a game that has a bug on it, not all games, but a lot of games get patched up with a new cartridge on it. So with those patches on board. And so there's that option at least if you have a buggy game that you could go and get the not buggy cartridge. So that option being there alone to me speaks a lot as to how much they must care about, their physical. At least that's in my opinion, right? So the problem with that is that they don't do that with every game, and I don't understand why. Like there's certain games that they just haven't patched up, and I don't understand it. Great example: Paper Mario and the Origami King has a lot of bugs. As a matter of fact, it has a bug in it that could be game breaking to where you can't actually beat the game and complete it. They still haven't patched that game up on cart. That is,
Yeah, that's the
they've
version I'm
given
gonna
us a
play.
patch.
So yeah, if I run into that bug, I'm gonna rip that game's fucking head off. Just forewarning everybody.
Exactly, and you would have every right to do so. Um, so
Better not happen
there's
to me.
there's certain games that have that issue. So not every game is gonna be revised, but they have revised a lot of their first party titles, as you can see on our spreadsheet.
Yeah, yeah, it's
And
pretty bright green at this point.
yeah, it's pretty bright green. Or a lot of them, even if they're not complete on cart, they have, at least like arms as an example. They released a cartridge that no, it's not complete on card, but it has all the DLC characters on the cartridge now. Like so, they released everything on the cart. So if you want all the characters, that option's there.
Nice.
And then, like you said, if you have a game like Mario 64 that you could speed run by using whatever glitch,
Uh huh.
on a first print, that option's there for you too. So you don't have to buy the revised cards, but the option is there. And the fact that those options are there is what makes me believe that Nintendo is at least trying. Whereas with Xbox, they just don't do that at all. And PlayStation, my understanding is they do sometimes with some games, but it's usually like those quote unquote complete editions or whatever,
Right.
that kind of thing. Um, but that's pretty much all the effort they put into it. And to me, it just feels like Nintendo's doing it the best
Well,
out of the three.
and keep in mind though, Nintendo is the reason why I had my heel turn on digital games. So I know you're not
Hmm.
familiar with the story. I know some of the chat is, but I'll go ahead and share it again. So my re-entry into console gaming was a Nintendo Wii, actually.
Okay.
That's where I re-entered the hobby of console gaming specifically. And
Hmm.
there was a time where I was obsessed with this idea of the Nintendo Revolution, which was essentially this idea of true backwards compatibility through digital games. I was obsessed with that
Okay.
idea. Now, I've always been of the position ever since my old school writing days on Super Nintendo Hub, SNES Hub. I was always an advocate for owning the game on its native hardware. But it was such a unique new concept to me, the fact that, oh gosh, you can get games like Milon no Doki Doki which never came here. States so you can get that on the Switch. You can get all the Mega Man games, Mega Man 3 on the Switch. You can get Mario Brothers 2 on the Switch, Zelda 2, Adventure of Link. So many great fucking games that you could download on the eShop and download to own. So I thought. But then came the Wii U. And the announcement that there was not going to be a Nintendo account system that would allow you to easily transfer your games from one console to the other.
Oh my god,
And
yeah,
so
I remember
I
this.
had built up this fucking arsenal of digital games that I still have. Fucking Chrono Trigger, man, on my Wii. And
and they're stuck there.
when they're stuck there. And so that's when I realized, nah, this is centralized gaming. This is we're going to control your fucking library. This is you're going to own nothing and be happy. This is us selling our ownership rights down the fucking toilet, and never again. Never again. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Not doing this anymore. I'm not doing this anymore.
Well, I'll tell you, that actually reminds me of what happened to me when it came to digital games and what made me not ever want to go back.
You'll only burn
similar
me once.
Yeah, similar to you. It was with the PS3 though. I bought DuckTales, the remaster, for PS3.
Good example.
And I love that game. I 100%ed it. Got all the trophies, all of that. And my son came to me one day and he was like, "I would love to try DuckTales Remastered." And so I got on my PS3 thinking that, well, yeah, I bought it. You could play it, whatever. But I think that game was delisted at one point and brought back. I can't remember. But point being is that when I got on my PS3, the game would not start. And it was making me re-buy it again. Or repurchase it. And I'm like, what the hell is this? I actually paid for this game. I remember paying for it. I bought it. I should have access to it. And now that my son wants to play it, he can't. And ever since then, I said, screw this. I'm not ever doing this again.
Well, ever. Yeah, exactly. How many fucking times do I have to rebuy Super Mario Brothers 3 Nintendo? How many times do I have to pay for that fucking game?
Yeah, stupid. It's stupid. And then with the whole Wii U situation that you just mentioned, I remember buying Mario Kart 64 and on the Wii, and I then got it on the Wii U, but I had to pay like a $2 fee just to get it over to Wii U. It was like, what is this? This is so stupid.
No, get fucked. That's what that is. And no, you're not gonna break it off. You're not gonna break it off in my ass. I'll go somewhere else. I'll go back to fucking PC gaming. I'll go play Morrowind for another fucking 5 years. I don't care. I don't give a crap. You're not doing this to me, and that's basically what happened. Well, it wasn't just that. There was also the software direction was telegraphing where Nintendo was going with the Wii U. Mommy Metroid, and Zelda flies through the air, Skyward Sword shit, and Wii music, and following up New Super Mario Brothers Wii, a game that everybody loved and bought, with Mario Galaxy 2, a game that literally nobody fucking bought because nobody liked 3D Mario back then. All that,
which I think is blasphemy because I love 3D Mario, but that's just
well. Here's the thing: like you and I would have tangled on this a little while ago, but I've come around to 3D Mario with Mario Odyssey.
Oh god, that's such a fantastic game.
I love that game, and to be honest, I've never played Galaxy, never played it. I'm told I need to. Maybe that'll also help solidify me as a. But my experience with Mario is I always define Mario as the 2D Mario style. So Mario World, Mario Brothers 3.
I got it.
Two of my favorite games of all time. And then I go to the Nintendo 64 and I'm sitting there playing this Mario 64. I'm like, yeah, it's okay, but I can't wait to see what they do with the 2D Mario coming up.
Yeah.
And then I had to wait 18 years. So.
And I mean, Mario 64, kind of to dabble in on that. I didn't remember. I said I grew up on Dreamcast and Sonic Adventure.
Right.
So I skipped that entire thing. But once I got married, and I met my wife, she had a 64 at the time, and that's when I actually first started. This was about 10 years ago. But this is where I first started like playing those kinds of games that I had missed, because I have this thing too where I want to go back and play stuff that I missed out on.
Definitely.
So Mario 64 is one of those games that I did play. but I just don't hold it as high regard, and I don't think it's possible for me to do so, just for the simple fact that I just didn't grow up with it, and I can't hold it to that stature that a lot of people do. But it's still solid. I'm not saying that it's not,
Yeah, yeah,
but
I want to
it's not,
clarify for
you know,
everybody. I'm not saying 3D Mario is bad. It's groundbreaking. It's not bad, not at all. Now, one
sure,
thing I was having a conversation with my friend
right,
Vince, and I'm
right.
kind of curious to see your thoughts on this. It seems like to him, and chat, share your thoughts on this too, because I'm going to be having my friend on the show, who's just a friend in real life. We're going to talk about this in more in depth, but I'll give you a preamble of this because it's just an interesting rabbit hole to go down. His claim is that he thinks that Mario 64 was a product of limitation. So essentially, when you made the jump from 16-bit to 64-bit in 3D, there was no way in
Mhm.
hell you were going to give us 70 plus courses that are all different and unique and do that with the high end budget and how much it was going to take to render everything in 3D. And so that
Okay.
Mario 64 was the compromise, he thinks. Again, this is all speculation, but he thinks that's why they came up with just 15 big worlds that you repeat, you go into over and over again, and just do different tasks within those worlds because it's easier to render those 15 bigger worlds than it is to render 70 plus courses in 3D, which would have been very, very, very expensive. But I don't know. I'm not sold on that. But what do you think of that? Does that sound feasible to you, or does that sound like a stretch Armstrong?
I mean, as somebody that's completed Mario 3, Super Mario World 64, I mean, it does kind of make sense in a way because um, it's true. Like, there's not that many courses. You repeat the courses over and over and over again with different missions, but a lot of the missions were simple stuff like
Right.
get 100 coins.
Uh huh.
You know, as an example, I think that's like the second or third mission. Find a hidden whatever,
Yeah,
right?
it
And
sounds
it was
feasible.
simple stuff.
And it sounds feasible. I wish I had a smoking gun. I like my evidence where I can find it. I'm
Oh,
looking
for
ever
sure.
since he threw this out there. I'm looking for that smoking gun of like Miyamoto or Tezuka saying something. Takahashi saying something. I haven't found it yet, but it sounds very feasible to me. Doing a 3D style Mario with the 70 plus courses. Good God, that would have been expensive. Especially going to
Yeah,
the
and that
64
that would have
bits.
been. I don't even think it's even just expensive, but just thinking of how overwhelming that could have been for even just the player having to go through 74 or 70 plus type of 3D levels in the same vein of what is in Mario 64.
Well, with the
Because I
precision of
found
like a
myself
yeah,
overwhelmed. I found myself overwhelmed because again, I didn't grow up with the game. I literally played it like for the first time like 10 years ago.
right.
So I was overwhelmed even with what was there. So I couldn't even imagine like what it would have been like with for 70 plus levels. That would have been chaotic in my opinion for something like that.
That's a good point too. That's definitely a good point as well. That yeah, you got to look at the consumer experience as well. Like, were we
Hmm.
really ready for that? I mean, Nintendo's budget probably wasn't ready for it. Can't necessarily say that we would have been ready for it either.
Right.
All right,
Right.
let's try to get caught up on chats real quick here again before we go into our next thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, we've got because we keep because we keep going down these rabbit holes that chat sends us on. So shame on you,
Yeah.
chat. Admonished. You are admonished for this, but low key, keep doing it. So we've got Mandy showing up. Hey, Mandy, how's it going? Thanks for coming in. Got Rush here, and Matt Belmont says just got done playing some Return to Castle Wolfenstein. I hear phenomenal things about that game. As far as a shooter goes,
This may be blasphemy, but I've never heard of that one.
never heard of Return to Castle. I've just heard it's really good. We've heard of Wolfenstein 3D, I'm sure. Return to Castle's a
Oh
sequel
yeah,
to
yeah,
that.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's like the sequel to that on the
Ah, gotcha,
yeah.
gotcha, 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 gotcha. Okay, gotcha.
Yep, talked about that on my YouTube channel. Also, digital games shouldn't cost as much as physical. It's not that way on PC, so why is
Oh,
it on console? Phil?
can we talk about that for just a
Yeah,
second? Actually,
100%.
oh my God, yes, this is actually very true because the fact that first of all, I don't like the fact that games are $70 now, but that's something different. But for $60, they have to package the game. They don't even put. You have to print it on a disc. You have to make a case. You have to make the artwork. All of that costs money. None of that cost goes into a digital game. Why does it need to cost $60 for a digital version of that same game?
Well,
I don't
especially
understand that.
especially as the product keeps being a victim of deflationary tactics, right? So
Right.
one of the things I shared before we hopped on, I shared the pictures of some of my PC game collection, right? And
Mhm. Mhm.
the first game I shared with you, that's Ultima 6, right? That's Ultima 6. That's from 1991 that was released, okay?
Mhm.
1990 or 1991. Don't quote me on that. It's one of those two. But anyway, that game came out in 1991. That picture is literally that's what was in that fucking Origin Systems black box.
Yeah.
It came with
Yeah.
all that shit. It
I
came
can
with
believe
a
that.
cloth map, came with a glossy
Mhm.
manual, came with all these
Mhm.
boot discs. That's how the standard edition of video games used to be, right?
Right. Right. Now it's
So
collector's editions.
yeah, and that's the thing about it. And that's kind of my worry is so physical games honestly are the new collector's edition, at least in the West. And that might account for some of the price disparities because you'll notice, like in Play Asia, a lot of times they have cheaper prices than the North American games that you can get. But
Mhm.
that's the thing. Soon we're going to be renting console hardware that plays the games, and then if everything becomes digital, you only need an account. I think that's what they're trying to move to. Like, expect future TVs to literally have Xbox support built into the TV. Seems like a Microsoft thing to do.
Haven't they already done this though on
They
some
they try,
Samsung TVs?
yeah, yeah, they're definitely moving in. If they haven't already done it, I'd be shocked. Yeah. Um,
Yeah, I think they have.
but in those pictures I shared you, you'll notice that then you had the StarCraft, which had the glossy manual, didn't not as no cloth map, anything like that. Then you have the Dragon Warrior set. On the consoles, it's a little different. Had the paper map, but had a map. And then take a look at the Chrono Trigger, where it's just a manual and some advertisements.
Mhm.
Nowadays, we get a shitty flimsy box that has holes in it.
Yep.
It doesn't even have a full,
Yep.
not even made of the full plastic anymore. We've got no manual, and we've got a disc that
Mhm.
literally, or a disc or a cart that doesn't even hold the whole fucking game. That's what we get now. And
Yep.
so, that's one of the things that I want to talk about in particular is the deflationary aspect of this. And I think that's important. So, um, what I mean by that is if you look at the environment of games right now, and you look at inflation and how it's just eating up the games industry, right? So, um,
Mhm.
the issue to me isn't so much games going from physical to digital as it is games entering a deflationary environment due to the rising cost of production. Now, the declining value has been recognized by older gamers like me, but in a way, this declining value is going to be bigger than people even think. And it's not going to stop. It's not going to stop just because games go 100% digital as they're trying to do. Where are they going to get their money then? In capitalism, we have this doctrine of infinite growth. You've got to be able to show the shareholders some kind of growth. Otherwise, the shareholders aren't happy, even if there's no fucking growth potential, even if you've tapped every customer, even if you have every market and there's nowhere else to expand into. So, where do you get your profits? By going to war with the customers that made you successful. And that's what they're
Mhm.
doing. So, you're starting to see this happen. Um, you're starting to see this happen more and more. They're already relying on downloadable content and selling you chunks of the game later on. And I guess what I'm trying to say here in a roundabout drunk ass way is that much of the shift in the games industry to me has nothing to do with technology or consumer trends or any of this other bullshit you see on Twitter. And it's more to have to do with a monetary trend, like, for example, inflation. Every fucking year, the dollar's worth less. This year, it's worth at least 10% less than it was last year, right? So, how does a game company survive? Well, in their limited mindset, like a restaurant, they're going to keep cutting back on the frills that used to make up the experience. And eventually the restaurant will, what they don't realize, it'll just cease to exist and it'll become an online ordering kitchen, like what's going on with DoorDash and shit like that. So to me,
Mhm.
that's the thing. It's there's a lot more to it. I don't necessarily think it's this conspiracy just to fuck us on physical games. I think there's more going on here, and I think the literal system that the games industry operates on is basically pushing this in a direction to where they are making this inevitable. And they don't realize that it's going to bite them in the ass as well, because they're going to collapse the value of their own product. When everything is commoditized, when everything is digitized, then there's no value to your product. That increases piracy, that increases people doing more illicit ways to play the games, and there's a lot of us that are just going to leave. So, I guess
And
that.
by the way, and by the way, just the fact that you've mentioned the whole leaving thing, people don't believe me when I say this, but I've said this many times too. Once we go all digital, I'm out of this. I'm not doing this anymore. I can't support knowing that at any given time a game could be taken away from me that I'm paying my money towards. You know, like I work hard for this money that I have, and for me to just lose access to something like DuckTales Remastered, no, thank you. Um, at that point, I'm just out, and I'll just stick with the older stuff that can last me a very long time.
Well, and
But
that's the
that's it.
thing, and that's what I want to talk a little bit about. Is, to me, it's not really digital versus physical games. I want there to be all kinds of options for games. To me,
No, and I'm fine with that too. I'm
exactly.
fine with
Yeah.
that
The,
too.
the problem to me is that we are at centralized gaming versus decentralized gaming. And it used to be that when I bought a physical game, the physical game is and was the medium to which I own the game. So it's my game. I can
Hmm.
loan it to a friend like I do all the time. I loan my games out to friends.
Right.
I
Yep.
can sell my game back to the game store. I can alter
Hmm.
a game, like mod it, modify it, like I do with Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind. The game is mine to do
Hmm.
what I will. And if you want to alter my game or take my game, you literally would have to kick my door down to do it, which nobody's going to fucking do. But the game is mine.
Right.
More and
Right.
more, it seems like the game companies are ahead of the curve on this, and they've kind of boiled us to the point where that's not going to be an option for us anymore. So what I'd like to do eventually is rethink ownership. So let me pose a question to you as someone who values ownership of games. Um, if
Okay.
if you were to, now this is really only for PC because consoles have ways around this, but let's say you were to own a PC, right? And let's
Hmm.
say you download a copy of Baldur's Gate 3 on Good Old Games, which is DRM free, and you put that
Okay.
game on an SD card. Do you own a physical
Okay.
copy of Baldur's Gate 3 now?
That's an interesting question.
Hmm.
I'd say yes. Dot dot dot.
I think that's
I
a fair
think so.
answer.
I think so. I think so. Although I don't know all the intricacies to PCs, but I would think that you would.
Yeah,
I
and,
would
and
think
and and
so.
I'm inclined to agree, but let me give you kind of the pros and cons of it, because I actually had a really lively and interesting discussion with Miss Mandy, who I think is in the chat, Tony, who might be in the chat, and Rush Dog, who's in the chat on this earlier today. And so one of the pros to this is going to be that yeah, at that point the game's mine. I can sell that copy of Baldur's Gate 3. Probably not going to get $60 for it, but we already talked about games shouldn't be fucking
Right.
$60
Right.
anyway. But I can get something out of it. I can let my friend borrow Baldur's Gate 3 on the SD card. It's the same, it's literally the same thing, except they don't have a fancy box and a manual, which I don't necessarily give a shit about, as long as I can get that game at a discount. Now,
Hmm.
the negatives to that is the problem with an SD card in terms of preservation is it's the SD card, unlike the Switch cartridge or the PlayStation discs, the SD card is going to be it's not going to be read only. It's going to be read write. Okay. Now, what that
Hmm.
means is every time you read that cartridge and every time you write that cartridge, it takes some of the life away from the.
Oh, yeah. I got you. I
So
got you.
that's a
It's
big
kind of like
negative.
the old. It's kind of like the old discs that we used to burn music and onto. The
Yes.
more and more that you use
Uh
them,
huh.
the more they deteriorate. Yeah. Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I get you.
it's disc rot basically. Exactly.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
now of course one would argue that you can handle that by keeping a download on your PC. But the point is that's the negative of this is it's more maintenance than having that Nintendo Switch card. There's also the fact that
Sure.
to me I can't take my copy on my SD card of Baldur's Gate 3 or Fear and Hunger or Morrowind on the go. I can't do that.
No. Right.
Can't take it on the go. So that's why I favor the Switch. And then again, I
Not
also
even
favor.
on Steam Deck. Not even on Steam Deck?
I don't have a Steam Deck, and the Morrowind
Oh,
build
okay.
I run on Steam Deck would get like 20 minutes of battery life on that thing. I'm not even fucking.
Yeah, probably. Yeah,
I have so
probably.
many fucking. That game is so heavily modded. My Morrowind game, and Lake Andoram's getting ready to drop. So if we have any Morrowind players in the chat, check out the game after Halloween. There'll be a whole new chunk of the mainland that Tamriel Rebuilt will be releasing. It's going to be fucking amazing. So just quick aside for anybody for all 0 of you that give a fuck about a 20-plus-year-old PC open world RPG. But anyway, so yeah, that poses an interesting question, which is, I'm still backing physical media 100%, but I do think we need to start a strategy on exiting the vampire's castle, if you will. I think it's important to start to look at other means and other definitions of ownership if we're going to stay in this hobby, because we're going to have 2 options. People like you and I, we can either leave or we can change the game. And I'm always up as an anarcho-minded person. I'm always up for changing the game if it's available to me. And I think one way to do that, an ugly way, but a way forward, at least for now, is SD cards downloading DRM-free games. But just want to throw that out there, and I'll go ahead and turn it over to you. I've old man rambled enough on that shit.
Well, my thoughts on that is I've always been open.
Oh, still there? Uh-oh, Revise, still there, buddy? Oh, no. Oh, still, can you hear me? All right, getting some chat assistance on this. Can you at least hear me? Or have we frozen fucking solid here? Somebody, throw me a clue here. I'm drowning. Okay, give me 1 second. Okay, Victoria says I can hear you. Perfect. And you can hear me. Can you hear? Can you hear Revised, guys? Because he is gone on my feed. No. Okay. What I'm gonna do real quick. We're gonna exit. Revised. If you can hear me, I'm gonna exit the call and I'm gonna call you back. I'll be right back.
Connection?
Hey, can you hear me?
Oh, there you are. Sorry, we
Oh,
lose connection?
yeah, something fucking happened. God knows what. I have no fucking clue what happened. I'm a boomer brain dude. So, but we're back. Okay. So thank you, Chad,
Okay.
for helping to. Thank you, Chad, for helping to shore up my technical ineptitudes. I love you guys. Anyway,
Good deal.
where were we?
So, what I was saying is that when it comes to physical and digital, I'm not sure where it got cut off, but so I'll start over.
Oh yeah,
When it comes to
yeah.
physical,
I asked you what do you
when it comes to physical and digital, yeah, when it comes to physical and digital, I try to stay away from physical versus digital conversations. I
Yes.
always like to have people do what they prefer, as long as they're not attacking me for what I love, which is the physical medium. As long as that doesn't happen, I'm not going to attack you on your digital platform. But if you do, then of course I'm going to go on the attack. And you've seen me on Twitter,
Oh
I'm
God,
sure.
yeah, you're
I'm
like me. You're a fucking honey badger, and you're like me in that way too,
yeah,
which is where I mirror energy. So basically, and that's a psychological thing. But basically, what I'll do with
yeah.
people is I'll mirror energy. So if you're cool with me, I don't care if we
Hmm.
disagree or not.
Hmm.
I'll be cool with you all day long. Um,
Right,
some
right.
people who know me personally can vouch. I will talk to people who you couldn't believe how opposites on the end of any spectrum we're on. And I can
Hmm.
have that conversation. I can have that discussion with them as long as you don't turn mean. Now, if you turn mean, you're gonna bring out the honey badger in me, and I don't like
Yeah,
to do that,
yeah, absolutely,
but I do mirror energy, which means that we can
absolutely.
disagree amicably, or we can turn this into a fucking blood sport. And it's really up to the person I'm
Yep.
talking to. And I say that
Oh yeah,
again. Yeah,
and I'm vicious, like I will get in the dirt and go to town all day long if you want me to. I don't care.
I love
But
it,
if you but if you show me respect, I'll show you respect. And there are people that I know personally that love digital. Okay, fine. If that's the way you like to play, I don't like it, but that's up to you. But the point I was making is this: even though I wouldn't say fully anti-digital, but I am pretty against it in many ways. Even though I am that way, I will still be open to the idea of of reconsidering my stance if companies came up with a good way for digital games to be redistributed. Like if I can come to my friend and say, "Hey, you
yes,
want to try this game and I can let you actually play it without all that extra nonsense of, "Hey, let me give you my account and my password," cuz literally that's what I would have to do on Switch.
yeah,
"Hey, let me give you my email and my password just so that you can log on to try this game." Like that's stupid. We shouldn't have to do all that just for somebody. And I would only do this with people I absolutely trust, by the way. I wouldn't do it with anybody else. But I shouldn't have to go through all of that nonsense just for somebody to want to try a game digitally, right? I
um,
can do that easily physically, but not digitally.
I
So if
feel
they could
like
figure some, go ahead.
video game publishers have forgotten that this is one of the ways that the gospel spreads. Is through people playing their games. I'll give you a great example of this, and this goes way back to old school PC gaming again. StarCraft and Warcraft 2 came with spawning discs. Do you know what that was?
No,
So
no.
basically, you would have your boot drive disc for these old real time strategy games that you play over networks, right? And then
Mm-hmm.
people who you were playing with could spawn literally, it would spawn a copy of that game temporarily on their PC, and then they could play it too as long as you were playing.
Oh,
So this was the
cool.
way, and this was the way that that Blizzard grew their brand. Blizzard was an indie company back in the early 90s. They were basically an indie developer. Rock and Roll Racing, Warcraft 2.
Mm-hmm.
And you would literally have it to where, yeah, so I pop in my disc, you pop in, you put in whatever code I give you, and now you've got a temporary copy of the game that you can play with me. Full game, the full game, everything unlocked on their end of things too. This is
They did
how,
this on 3DS too, I
uh-huh,
think,
yeah, street
where you could
street
share.
pass or
Yeah,
whatnot, yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, where it was basically spawn copies of games, and this is how gaming spread. This is how it became one of the largest entertainment mediums on the fucking planet. And we've forgotten that. Now we want to control everybody's library, and we want to control who you can
Mm-hmm.
loan to. We want to make you phone home. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm just not down with it, man. I'm just not down with it. And again, like you were saying, we were having a really good discussion with Joey Ferris, who he's really excited about Alan Wake 2. Now, I am personally of the opinion that Alan Wake 2 does not exist. But for somebody who is hallucinating Alan Wake 2 and is really excited for Alan Wake 2, I would never take that away from them. I hope they enjoy, and I say this with
No,
only
absolutely
a
not.
little bit of a smartassery. I hope they enjoy their end user license agreement, because what use are things if you don't get enjoyment out of something? If you enjoy that,
Mm-hmm.
that's fantastic. What I would love is I would love if Alan Wake 2 actually existed, i.e., there was some kind of physical way to play it or some kind of DRM
Right,
way to play it, but there's just not right
right. Yeah, and I mean the thing about that is, first of all, I didn't even know it required DRM. This is news to me.
now. Well, it's on the Epic.
Um,
Yeah, it's Epic Game Store, so yeah, it will absolutely
ah,
have.
yeah, okay,
Yeah,
makes
and then
sense.
and then
Okay,
on the PlayStation 5 and Xbox One, or Series X, it's not even going to have it won't even have a disc.
And let me guess, you have to probably sign into your Epic account just to
That I'm not certain
probably
of,
play it.
but either way, it's brutal and no thanks. No fucking
No, I wouldn't support that either. And I mean, and like you said, if that's somebody's preferred method, then go for it. But I think the problem with that a lot of these people are not understanding is they're living in the now. For us older gamers especially, we understand this better than anybody because we've been here before. I can't tell you how many times I went back and played Sonic Adventure because I'm nostalgic for that game because I grew up with it, right? So a lot of these younger folks that are playing games now, they don't realize it now, but in the future you're going to want to play that game again. It's going to happen. That's just human nature. We
yeah.
like to go back to what made us feel comfortable. And the issue with that is eventually with this Alan Wake situation, if how are you going to have access to it with with the way that it's being distributed as it stands?
Well, and
More
that's
than
not
likely
even
you're not going to have it.
well, let's not even get into the potential physical fraud hashtag that I've been seeing you guys using. That's gonna be going on. I mean, serious though. Let me give you a great example of that I will never forget because I had a buddy that got burned so fucking bad on this. Back in the day, he was so mad when these. So there was a game for the Xbox 360 called Chrome Hounds, right?
Okay.
Chrome Hounds was a mech game that you could play like campaigns, like war campaigns against other mechs, like representing one of like three nations. It was really cool, really fucking cool
Hmm.
game. And but the problem with this game was it had almost no single player whatsoever. Like the single player was literally like a tiny glorified tutorial, right?
Sure.
The servers went off on that game in 2010. And my
Okay.
and my buddy was pissed. But if you do a search of Chrome Hounds, you will still see that game selling for anywhere from $10 to $20 today.
Really? That's
Servers
interesting.
servers went off in 2010. You can't play it anymore. But yet
I don't
people,
understand why anybody would pay $20 for a game that they can't play.
because they don't know they can't play it because there's nothing on the box that says it. They see the
But you
cover,
know, I've
they think
seen
it's cool.
games like this. I've seen games like this that are primarily online that will sell at a game store for like less than $5. So
Well,
20 just
yeah,
seems
yeah.
excessive to me.
Well, and if they go in Game Stop, that's what they would get. Would be
Yeah, yeah,
they
yeah.
wouldn't even sell it, or if they would sell it, it would be for like a Madden price, like a $2 or $5 bargain bin game,
Right.
right in the
Right,
bargain
right,
bin.
right.
Problem is, nobody takes that game to GameStop or to their local game store because these are knowledgeable people who deal with a more knowledgeable clientele. What's happening is there's people
Sure,
who
yeah,
who
yeah, yeah.
buy an Xbox 360 for the first time. Most people are not hardcore. Most people, and I don't even like the term hardcore and casual. I use upstream and downstream. So most customers are going to be upstream customers. They're going to be customers that maybe like to play the occasional video game, but they're not immersed in the culture, whatever the fuck that
Mhm.
like you and I are. They're not.
Right,
And so
right,
they'll do is they'll go,
right.
hey, and I just got a 360. This mech game looks fucking bitching. Let's get this mech game, and oh yeah, can't play it.
Hmm.
That's what's going to happen, and I'm sure it happens. I'm not saying it happens a lot, but the fact that it happens at all, and the fact that I've seen them move at that price because I do regularly look out for that because it burned my buddy so bad. These games are moving at anywhere from $10 to $20. They're moving at that.
Well, see, that kind of goes back to what I was saying before. Like, I didn't grow up with a lot of games, and I'm kind of wanting to play what I missed.
Uh
That's what
huh.
these people are doing. They're going back to try to play what they missed. But the problem is of
And
course,
they
like you just said,
you can never play Chrome Hounds the way it was
you
meant.
can never play it.
That was
Exactly.
that was an
Unless, of
ephemeral
course,
experience.
there's like pirated servers out there now that are doing it through some other way, which I know that the community has done for other
Yeah.
games like Mario Kart Wii.
Yeah,
You
so
know,
so the bigger
as an
games,
example.
that's absolutely going to happen with all the bigger titles. Not going to happen for a game like Chrome Hounds, which was just niche
No,
enough
no,
to where nobody's
no.
going to take the expenses of running a private server. It's not going to happen.
No, it's not gonna happen.
Yeah,
You're right.
and so that's kind of the negative with that in terms of all that and the way that goes. And it's just really fucking depressing. That's why I say
Uh,
like the issue is really
it's
about
sad.
centralized through decentralized. There is no advantage in centralized media to the customer, and there's only disadvantages as far as I'm concerned. Seems to me like in centralized gaming, the company has all the advantages. They even have the ownership. And yet they fooled so many people
Hmm.
into thinking the alternative to their digital store is physical, and a lot of us, myself included, have bought it. My focus is one, we need to try to preserve as much physical as we can because I will always be a physical gamer, but we've also got to get into that digital. I think the digital medium needs to be set free, like you said. If there was a way to do digital gaming where you could freely share it, and
Hmm.
you had a good account system where it could go across everything, like a lot of things, I would be good with it. And the technology exists for this to happen. It's called
Oh,
blockchain.
absolutely,
But they won't.
absolutely.
But they won't fucking do it revised. And they're going to pursue NFTs and all this other shit. And there's no way that they want us to own our. They'll never let us own our digital games. Not with this current
Mm-mm.
thinking. And the entire point. That's what it just spits in the face of the entire point of the computer revolution, which was the personal computer. What was the personal computer? It was decentralized. Instead, it was a decentralized local computer at your house, as compared to the university or the corporate controlled computers you'd have to go visit. It's just amazing how we seem to be going in reverse on this to me. And I
Well, you know, it already happened. It already happened with PC. But just like you said, you know, with PC, a lot of users have already went into pirating stuff or pirating games because that's the only option that they have.
yeah.
And this has been going on in PCs for centuries now. So
Oh,
it's already happened there. So
PC
of
paved the
course it's
way.
going to happen here,
Yeah, yeah, PC. I
huh?
mean, I'm not proud of the fact that PC paved the way. Gabe Newell.
Yeah. Oh,
Everybody loves to
absolutely.
worship the fucking ground Valve walks on. Hey, I got news for y'all. Valve paved the way for you to never own your games again.
Mm-hmm.
Valve paved the
Absolutely.
road. Yeah,
Yeah.
this all started
Because
with the massive success of Valve.
the digital the whole physical stuff with PC like that, you don't find those in store. I haven't
They're
seen
gone.
them.
No, they're gone.
Maybe a couple here and there, but if in years
Yeah.
with PC has been going in that direction. You know, and of course Microsoft is following that because they're a PC company, they're Windows. So of course they're going to head in that direction, which makes sense as to why they're paving the way on the console front to go in that direction because
Right, and they better
they
watch out because I think that Microsoft's about to be disrupted in a way that nobody really sees right now. So you mentioned the Steam Deck earlier, right?
yeah,
And
yeah.
one of the interesting things about the Steam Deck, I'm not so much interested in the Steam Deck for what it does. To me, the Steam Deck is honestly a very uninteresting piece of tech. It's on the
Agreed.
on the games that you can't play on the Switch, you're getting like an hour and a half, 2 hours battery life max.
Right. Right.
That's not what's interesting about it. What's interesting about it is the software is the software that powers the hardware. Do you know what system it uses?
It's either Steam or Linux. Linux.
It's Linux.
Yep.
It's a Linux based OS. And so, what that tells me, and I don't know, you know where I'm going with this. That
I
tells
think
me
I
that
do.
what Steam is doing is the Steam Deck is an experiment on separating Steam from the Microsoft Windows OS. And if they succeed with whatever the fuck they do next, because there will be a next for that for
Oh,
Valve's effort,
absolutely.
that is going to put the hurts to Microsoft. That is going to be an absolute game changer. If they can separate the Valve Steam store from Microsoft's Windows OS, and they can do that successfully. And it
That's an
seems
interesting concept. That
we'll
is a
see.
very interesting concept.
We'll have to see what happens. Because keep in mind, everybody's got to keep in mind the only thing that stops me from doing that is like disruption is defined as a crappy product for a crappy customer, quote unquote. Okay. And what I mean by that is I don't mean that the
Yeah.
customer is actually crappy or the product's actually crappy. what Clayton Christensen meant when he said that was that the crappy product, it's a product, this is from the perspective of the larger industry. The industry views that product as crappy, and the industry views that customer that's targeted product is towards as crappy. And so a good example of this is the Nintendo Wii. Look at how the industry spoke about the Wii before it came out. Oh, it's for casuals, dripping with condescension, not only for the hardware of the Wii, but for the crappy customer that bought it from their perspective.
Yeah.
And that crappy customer and that crappy product literally made Nintendo billions.
Yep.
I was there for it. I was literally there for it. And
The only unfortunate part about that is that those same consumer-based customers didn't come back for their future consoles.
no, but why would they?
Which-
What the fuck did the
Yeah,
what did the Wii U have that the Wii Sports, New Super Mario Brothers, Wii loving Wii owner, what did the Wii U do? The Wii U literally turned its back on that customer.
it did. It
That
did.
customer got shafted with the late Wii. You think Skyward Sword or Wii Music? Well, maybe Wii Music, but God, that was just a bad game. Mario
Never played it.
Galaxy 2, like, yeah, no, these games were not going to appeal to the quote unquote casual, the upstream customer. Um, Nintendo instead, selfishly, once they got their money, Nintendo decided, you know what? We want to use these upstream customers and we want to make them buy the games we want to make. And we're going to try to funnel them into 3D Mario, into Zelda, and into weird bimbo ninja daddy and mommy issues Samus Aran. That's what they tried to funnel them into instead of giving them the games they wanted, which was an actual, honest to God 2D Metroid, more 2D Mario, classical Zelda. All this got dropped, man, and that customer vanished. That customer vanished and left Nintendo holding the bag. Like
Yeah.
it's such a fascinating era, that first HD era, because that's when all the costs skyrocketed. Because that was the first era where everybody developed their games in HD. So you had to render every polygon in HD, and that was early on. That cost was astronomical. And so all of the game companies, they rejected the Wii's proposition, and they said, you know what we're going to do is we're going to use the casual dollars to fund hardcore AAA game development. And so we'll put our junk on the Wii for the stupid casual, quote unquote, the crappy customer to buy. And then all the money they spend on our crappy Wii games, will use that money to fund our AAA projects. What actually ended up happening was that sweet, sweet casual money vanished, and it left all these companies holding the bag with no way to fund the hardcore development. That's what actually occurred. And then you put this on the same precipice as the 2008 collapse. So you pair an economic crisis with the fact that casual money disappeared, and that resulted in basically what was a mini crash that everybody's fucking forgot about in gaming history. Like, if you were around in that time period, like over 250 developers died. THQ, one of the largest publishers, was drawn and quartered, literally before our eyes. Like, that was really, really rough times to be in the games industry. Oh, I think you're muted, buddy. I think you muted yourself. Uh-oh. Yeah, it looks like your mute icon's on.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're good. Anyway, what were you saying? Still there?
Yeah, no, I'm here. Sorry, I had to step away for a second.
No, you're good.
Anyway, yeah, man, it's interesting. I never thought about the Wii U in that aspect. I did end up buying one myself. There were a few games on there that I loved, but overall,
which ones did you like?
It was Mario 3D World was a great one. Smash Ultimate, Mario Maker.
Mario Maker was lit. Splatoon debuted on the Wii U, to be fair.
I was gonna say Splatoon, and if Obsidious is still in here, that's how he met me. I also run I also run a Splatoon group, and we play frequently with my friends. and so I'm huge on Splatoon.
Well, shit, we'll have
Big
to do
on it.
some. Yeah, we'll have to. Rush Dog in the chat. He plays Splatoon too. We'll have to get in on. You guys stand Big Man? I'm hoping you stand Big Man.
Well, we're going for big man this
Yes.
Splatfest coming
Yeah,
up
Big
for
Man.
Ghost. Yep, yep,
Big
yep, yep.
Man.
We're
Team
going
Ghost. Well,
Ghosts.
shit. Maybe this weekend if I can burn some time in, we'll all get together with Rush. Maybe we'll play some Splatoon. That'd be fucking lit. Um, So let's
Nice,
check in on the
nice.
chat because chat is just blowing up, and again we keep getting, but the chat keeps feeding us. The chat is feeding this stream, guys. Like hell, you guys. So back to Super
I
Chat.
hope they're enjoying it, by the way.
Oh, they're
Anyway,
loving it. They're loving it. But I call these super chats, by the way, revised because they're not super chats because they're better than super chats because you don't have to pay me shit in order for me to read your comment. Like,
awesome,
yeah,
awesome.
you don't have to pay me anything. Like, I don't do that. So it says here. So where were we at? We were at yeah, digital games. Okay, that's where we're at. And then
Hmm.
Game Pass and PlayStation Plus is Phil One Up collects. Game Pass and PS Plus has gone up. Nintendo increased theirs
Yep.
too, and they'll keep increasing it. Yeah, which is why I don't even
Hmm.
have a Nintendo Switch Online membership now. Like that shit is fucking ridiculous. Um, these streaming
I only
services.
have it for Splatoon, but yeah.
Yeah, I will definitely hop. Well, what I'll do is I'll just make them give me the 7-day free trial again for like the 80th time. That's what I do every time me and Rush play. Um, yeah, I'm a cheap bastard when it comes to these companies, and you know why? Because they're cheap bastards when it comes to me. So
Yeah, I hear you.
again, mirroring energy, right?
Yep, 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 yep,
So Rush Dog says these streaming services are struggling, but so are their customers. Yeah, yeah, you ain't
yep,
kidding. And he
yep.
says, "Yo ho ho." Phil One Up collects says pissed I can't share my sister's Netflix account when we live in the same town, only like a few miles down the road. Netflix
It's
used
so
to be
stupid.
okay, but with it now they're so restricted, which I'm surprised they haven't had more blowback from that decision. By the way, I'm actually
I'm surprised too, man, because they're starting to charge people for sharing their passwords, and it's
yeah,
like I'm paying for this. Why can't I do whatever the frick I want with what I'm paying for? But
yeah, and again,
stupid.
this is hostile behavior, and again, I do think this is the end result of um of where we're going. Again, this doctrine of infinite growth, it's not sustainable. You can get
I
creative, and
mean,
that's what Clayton Christensen was talking about when he wrote The Innovator's Dilemma. You can get creative, like once because we're in a place where there's no macroeconomic expansion taking place. There's no more markets. China's opened up now. There's no more markets to expand into on this planet. There's no more customers to tap. Like when you're the Nintendo Switch, it is a real dilemma. Like everybody who has a Switch at this point, is there any more room for growth?
has one, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So the only
yeah.
way to continue to show those shareholders, we either have to make a new system, which I don't think we really want a new system. We just want to see this fucking system supported. A lot of people.
Hmm.
So that's one
Hmm.
avenue forward. The other avenue forward is we can get creative and we can try to tap that blue ocean of non-customers. But there's limits to both of those things. So I think this myth of infinite growth is something not only the games industry is going to have to tackle. I think that's a societal and philosophical thing we're going to be tackling in the next 20 years. I think as that
Yeah,
begins to implode, I don't know what we do because our entire economic model is built on infinite growth, and it's just drying up, man.
yeah. I don't know.
Like I can see it in the business I do. It's just drying. So we got piracy is out in the open like never before. So many emulation devices are readily available from. Yeah, we read that. Yeah, it's gonna be like
Hmm.
fucking One Piece up in this bitch is what's gonna happen. Like we're all gonna be fucking sailing the Grand Line if this keeps up.
I will say one thing about the whole piracy thing. Um, I know that a lot of people look at me and think that I'm just this Nintendo fanboy, like I'm some sort of Nintendo. But I will call out Nintendo anytime they do something stupid. Some people
Me
may
too.
have saw how I went after Nintendo for that stupid Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Plus expansion pass that they're doing that they didn't wait for Wave 6 to put it on the cartridge. It still pisses me off to this day.
You were a
But
savage on that. I loved it because I'm the same
yeah,
way. Like
oh
again, people are like, "Well, why do you go after Nintendo so much? You're a fucking Nintendo YouTube channel." No, I'm not a Nintendo YouTube channel.
no.
I'm actually not.
No,
I'm a Switch YouTube channel, and I'm going to advocate for my own happiness. That's what this channel exists to
exactly.
do. And so what that means is the Nintendo and I have a very love hate relationship throughout history, and right now it's love.
I think all of us do. I
Yeah,
think all of us do.
but the point is, it is a temporary alliance. It is not. I don't know shit to
Oh yeah,
Nintendo. Nintendo's
absolutely,
not paying my fucking check. They're not paying my salary. So I'm not
absolutely.
saying shit. If I want to say something about Nintendo, I absolutely will. I'm not looking for free shit. So
Hmm.
100%.
Yep.
Yeah, and again, that's one of the things about this channel. This channel is, I don't care how small it stays, I don't care how big it fucking gets. I will never take a dime. There'll never be a fucking P.O. box set up so I can make clips with a dumb face surrounded by fucking mail. You won't believe what my fans sent me. There'll
Hmm.
never be a Patreon. None of that shit. None of that shit. I make.
Yeah, same.
I'm a fucking YouTuber, man. I literally, and I don't even have any editing in my videos. Like, what the fuck would the money go towards? Like, I don't know how to edit. I don't care to learn how to edit. It's just my thoughts, rambling old man style into a camera. So nobody should want to pay for that. It's not worth paying for. But I hope you enjoy the
And
content. But you guys shouldn't. I hope you enjoy the content for free.
right, sure. No, but I mean, when it comes to like, so what I was saying when it comes to Nintendo, um, just because I'm quote unquote Nintendo revised, people think that I'm just a Nintendron or whatever. But at the end of the day, what I was wanting to say is that their whole approach to piracy is completely idiotic in many, many ways. I'm not saying that they shouldn't protect their rights to their properties. I'm not saying that, but I despise how they won't allow tournaments to occur for older Smash games if people want to play those online. Why does that matter, Nintendo? Those games are no longer available through you. You're not making them available. So why can't people do it on their own terms? Like Smash Brawl, as an example, for
Yeah,
GameCube. It's
yeah.
a beloved game. Why can't people do that online if they chose to do so? Why do you want to take that down, Nintendo? I don't understand this concept. If you don't want that to happen, then make the game available on the Switch. That's how you tackle that. Otherwise, let people do what they want to do when it comes to that kind of thing.
The thing,
So
the thing that
I would go ahead.
the thing that bothers me the most about the Smash move, because I'm not glued to the Smash community. I don't have any connection to
I'm
that.
not either.
But
I'm not either.
the charity angle. Did you read the shit about the charities? Like, let's say you want to do a school charity event. And you want to have like a tournament at your school to raise money for charity, for example.
Oh yeah,
You got
yeah,
to
yes, I
register that
did read
shit
about
with
those.
fucking Nintendo. Like, what the fuck is that shit? Now, I was talking with OJ.
So stupid.
Yeah, OJ from Player Essence shot me a message on that. He was like, "Hey, bro, let me give you another angle on this." Essentially, and what he was explaining was apparently there's been some bad actors that have been pocketing charity money, and Nintendo was trying to crack down on that. And okay, I can understand and sympathize with that a little bit. But but still, there's got to be a better way. There's got to be a better way than to just literally take the wind out of the sails of fucking kids that are trying to do good work, man.
My thing with that is how do we have, like, where's the evidence that this has actually occurred?
He
Because if
didn't. Yeah,
that's the
he didn't. Yeah,
excuse,
he didn't present any evidence. He just said that that's happened. So
right?
yeah, okay.
So because if there's no proof of that happening, Nintendo can't sit here and claim. I'm not saying that they did. I know that Player Essence gave you the info, but still, like they can't base it upon something like that and expect all of us to just say, "Oh, okay," and that's that.
Yeah, and I'm willing to
This
believe because OJ's legit. I'm willing to believe that actually happened. He's in the know about a lot of Nintendo stuff. Like, but again,
sure,
like you said, how frequent is it? How rampant is it?
probably not much.
And think about it like this. Well, I used to work at a grocery store, right? Used to be a meat cutter in a grocery store, and we had a program at that grocery store that would allow us to comp things on occasion. We had to write it, we had to keep track of it, but allow us to comp it. And the owners were saying, and it drummed up a lot of fucking business. But the owners of the company had said at the time that they would rather, like, yeah, are there some people that would take advantage of that? Yeah, but we would rather We would rather be a sucker for that one person that's a bad actor than
Hmm.
stick it to the hundreds of people who are legitimate, good faith people. Most
Exactly.
most
Yeah.
people aren't sociopaths. Most people aren't
No.
predator. And so you can when you do out a predator, you can deal with the predator as such. My understanding is Nintendo has an entire team of like super ninjas that can go after
Oh,
these folks.
yeah. The
So
Nintendo Ninjas. Yeah.
so maybe
Yeah.
do it after the fact and don't just squash charity events at the forefront. I guess would be my thing on that. The other thing, like you mentioned piracy, and I want to touch on that real quick because I actually have a little bit of a story. I can kind of explain why they react the way they react. Again, not saying it's correct, but I want to give context, a little bit of historical context to this. So I'm sure you're familiar with the way Nintendo started. They were a Hanafuda card company, right? They made toys and
Yeah. Yeah.
Hanafuda
Yeah.
cards. And over
Hmm.
time, when they first jumped into the video game industry, they did it with an arcade game by Shigeru Miyamoto called Donkey Kong, right?
Hmm.
Well, Donkey Kong was actually sued by the company that made King Kong.
Universal.
Universal,
Yep.
exactly. So
Universal.
you're familiar with this whole thing, exactly. So
Hmm.
Universal took Nintendo to court and said that they stole
Yep.
Donkey Kong from the likeness of King Kong, and they
Right.
lost. Do you remember why they lost?
I don't remember why they lost, but I did know they did
They
lose.
lost because they did not show an active pattern of interest in upholding their copyright, even though the copyright existed. So the courts acknowledged that the copyright was violated, but because there wasn't a pattern of defending the copyright, they saw this as a selective use of their power to try to squash a then much smaller company. So they ruled in favor of Nintendo, and Nintendo has that burned into their DNA, just like Walt Disney had a similar thing happen. And
Oh yeah,
Disney,
they
and
still do it with Mickey Mouse.
exactly, yes. And so anytime, as vicious as it seems, anytime anybody comes close to infringing on those IPs, they step hard. And part of it is just that they're vicious, but the other part
Hmm.
of it is that they do not want to establish a pattern of being lackadaisical in defense of of their intellectual properties. Again, I'm not saying it's good,
And like I said,
but I'm saying I understand.
I'm okay with that. But yeah, I'm okay with
Well,
that.
but
But
one fucking guy into the dirt for like 30 million, he'll never pay that back.
yeah, that's ridiculous. Well. Not only that, but
Like,
like I said, make it accessible.
mm-hmm,
Then, if that's such a big, but because this is my issue with Switch currently. Even with the whole Switch Online thing, feed like they drip feed the games to us. We're just now getting Mario Party 3 after we haven't gotten anything for the N64 app for I don't know months
yeah,
now. It's like, but if you
I
don't want
want to
people to
play.
pirate, then just give
Yeah,
it to us.
I want to play Adventures of Lolo. I may not want
Oh,
to drag
I
my
love
NES.
that game.
I may not want to drag my NES out every time I want to play the Adventures of Lolo's games. So I have a choice.
Hmm.
I can either hook up the N64 and blow into the fucking cartridge and go through all the shit to get that game working, or I can pirate it on an emulator. What is
Or
your
they could give it to us.
or you could just put Adventures of Lolo out there for people to play.
Hmm.
That
Especially with their first party stuff, man, they have access to it. So why don't they just give it to us if we're paying for these subscriptions? I don't get it.
Well, and
It
that's
doesn't make
part,
any sense
and
to
I
me.
think that's part of the Nintendo Switch Online proposition, but it's a proposition that gives no value to me because it's streaming. Like it's not anything I can ever like. Eventually, that's going to go away, and
Yeah.
it's like it never existed. Like, but I get that.
Well, my friends and I have actually talked about this, and we all have hope that this is what they're gonna do. But we've kind of like you were mentioning earlier about the Wii and the Wii U, like you couldn't transfer the games that you purchased. Well, now that they're doing this whole NSO or Nintendo Switch Online thing, where we're paying this monthly, subscription fee, and again, I do it for Splatoon mostly because I play constantly online. But the point being is that if we have access to like NES, Super Nintendo, Game Boy, etc., this better continue into Switch 2 or Super Switch or whatever the hell they're going to call it, because why would nobody wants to reestablish a new Nintendo, because what were they before Nintendo accounts? They were something else
I don't even
on the
fucking
Wii and
know.
the Wii U.
I know it was a big stick up my ass is what happened.
Yeah,
They ran that
exactly.
good. Like
Exactly. And so it's
I
like,
can't even tell you how many fucking game I bought into that shit on the Wii.
man, and I hate that for you. And I also hate the fact that there's so many Wii games that I heard are really good. We were just mentioning Castlevania earlier. There's a really good Castlevania game on the Wii
There
that
is, yeah.
nobody has access to anymore. A Contra game's on there too that nobody has access
Yeah,
to
nobody has
anymore.
unless you have it now. My Wii does, but there's no way to get it
Right.
off of there. There's no way to get it off of there.
Well, what if the Wii bricks? Then what? You know?
Yep.
Then
Then
it's gone too.
it's gone.
Gone.
And
Yeah.
that's why I didn't think that a younger, dumber me didn't think that through. 100%.
Which is why I was saying earlier, a lot of people are living in the now, not understanding that
Exactly.
what's going to happen in the future. That's the problem.
Yeah, learn from me. I had over 100 fucking Wii games, over 100, and they're fucking gone. Like,
Yep.
so
Yep.
we've got
You
oversaturation of streaming services is no different than oversaturation of the game market when it comes to retail releases, collector's editions, etc. Yeah, I agree with that, Phil.
God, yeah.
I think
Yeah,
that's
I
true.
agree with that.
Rush Dog says Ring Fit Adventure for a great disruptive game. Yeah, fucking dude, that game's so fun. That game you can't play it for long. At least my out of shape ass can't. But
Yeah, I can't either. But it is
but
fun though.
that's a good. It's a lot of fun. You talk about a way to make exercise fun. It's fucking Ring Fit Adventure. Yeah. Zoo's gonna.
Well, and it's a way better proposition than Wii Fit was,
Yeah,
personally.
yeah.
You
We
know.
fit. We fit. Literally had a scale that called you fat when you. Yeah, that's like
Anyway.
yeah, that was so fun. Yeah, Zoo is gonna freak when he sees the Fat Man Burger I had today. We'll drop a video of it. Yeah, you better now. You're kind of locked into that promise now, Phil. PSP played movies too. Story time. So there is a fucking legend in the town that I live in, and this may be a little doxing, but I don't give a shit. His name is the Chili Bowl Mullet Man. Okay.
Hmm.
And so what this guy does, he's this cool ass dude. He's got a chili bowl haircut with a mullet. And his whole thing is he goes around and he's got a PSP that he watches movies on. He will literally go and he will get something to eat. He will watch a movie on his PSP before going to a movie in the theaters. And
Okay.
that is
Oh
his
well.
whole fucking social media feed. But this dude is a fucking legend. He's always at the mall that's somehow still alive in my town. And if you ever see this guy, it's always worth patting him on the back and be like, "Oh, cool! Let me get a selfie with the chili bowl mullet guy." Like this dude, no, this dude is legit cool as fuck. Like not even capping. Like this guy is awesome. So anyway, so that funny side story, but yeah, PSP does indeed play movies, and the only reason I fucking know that is because I follow Chili Bowl Mullet Man. And
Oh,
yeah,
I knew that when I bought my PSP. I had Family Guy. I had the Family Guy TV series on it at one point.
yeah, classic Family Guy was fun.
Yeah, classic, not the new crap. Yeah, yeah, the classic
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah, it's kind of zombie Family Guy now, just kind of like zombie Simpsons is.
It's
Speaking of which,
sometimes we need to kill stuff before it gets too
yeah,
far.
yeah,
Honestly.
and I agree, but I tell you what, if you want an absolute mind fuck of this mentality, because I've always been of the old school mentality, set in my ways. Hey, this is when things were good, things gradually get
Mm-hmm.
bad. Super Eye Patch Wolf, are you familiar with this creator?
No,
Check his
no.
shit out. Yeah, he's on YouTube. Super Eye Patch Wolf put out a video called "The Simpsons is Good Again," and when I watched it, I'm like, no fucking way, no, it's not. And
Mm-hmm.
but watching this video, he kind of challenges our premises. What exactly is good? What is good Simpsons? And one of the things he does, and it really trips me up, is he went into the Wayback Machine and he looked up reviews, like actual user reviews of The Simpsons season 6, like one of the most. But we're talking about one of the most beloved fucking television seasons of all time, right? People
Mhm.
hated Simpsons season 6 back in the day. And
Oh wow.
the reason they hated it is because it wasn't like the old Simpsons. So that's
But now they look back at it and it's not as good again.
all of these arguments have basically been thrown down the memory hole. Nobody even know now. Whenever you hear Simpsons season 6 talks about, it is as perfect a season of television as there ever was. So it's just kind of wild that honestly that kind of put me in a state of cognitive dissonance for a bit, and that's hard to fucking
Yeah,
do.
I could see that.
And
I could see that.
yeah, Eye Patch Wolf, kudos for that. Again, I don't necessarily agree with your premise. I don't know if I would agree that The Simpsons is good again, but um, I'm willing to hear that out, and would love to talk to that guy on a future podcast. Whether that happens or not, I don't know. Would love to talk to him about that specific thing, though. But
Yeah, yeah,
who knows what happens in the future? Maybe. Um,
yeah.
so let's see. We've got yeah, PSP played movies too. The DVD player is my favorite console of all time. Matt Belmont says the games I played on that are only matched by what came before it. Yeah, and it plays a hell of a DVD too for very cheap. Um, so thank you. Nintendo has been pushing digital for around 10 years now, bundling consoles with download codes, encouraging digital purchases with vouchers, etc. Yeah, Nintendo's kind of doing it in a real boil the frog kind of way, like a real download type way.
Yeah.
Kind of sneaky, kind of being yeah, they're snaking us, sneaky snakes on that shit. But they're doing it in a
Well, of
clever way
course, they're
because
gonna follow. They're gonna follow suit like everybody else. They're gonna have to.
well,
I
but
mean, that's just what they're gonna do.
instead of caveman clubbing us like the other two are doing, they're doing it real surreptitiously. And I don't know if I like that or not, honestly.
Mm,
Um, it's
either way sucks,
it's
honestly.
yeah. Either way, it to quote angry video game nerd, it sucks ass through a straw. Either way.
Yep, yep.
I wish it was easier to get them though. I wish they would change the artwork or a new SKU for that version of a game. Phil says, put a sticker on the case and say Mario Wonder Patch 2.5 included. I don't know. Um, is there?
Okay,
That's a good question. Is there a way to tell which revision you're getting by looking at the box?
99%. No, and
Fuck.
that's the unfortunate truth. There is one or two games, and there's one specifically that I can think of that's a really good example of them actually doing it properly, and that to a certain degree, and that's Nintendo Switch Sports.
Okay.
So that game is actually now physically complete on cart in
With the
Japan
soccer, yeah.
with the soccer and everything on, with the most up to date patch, which I think is 1.4.0. I think it is. Well, anyway, this revision is 003 for sports.
Okay.
And what they did is the original cases have the five, I think it was like four or five sports that they had initially, but then they added golf as the last patch. Well, they actually went back and added the golf logo on the case.
Oh,
And
so that's how you
somebody,
can tell.
that's how you can tell to a certain degree, though, because even though there are some cartridges that have that golf symbol on it, it could still be a 002 revision, not a 003. But regardless, it will have golf on the cart.
Well, thank
As
you
long
for
as you look at
that.
the case.
That means a lot to me as a huge fan of Wii Sports. That massive fan of that game, and so now that I know that, I'm finally going to be able to have a physical copy of Wii Sports in my collection. I'm gonna go do that as soon as I get off here. Um,
Yeah,
that's
I
gonna be
will.
fun.
I will send you the images if I
Yeah,
remember
for sure.
showing the differences. But one has the golf symbol and one does not, and
Sweet.
that's the only one that I know of. And Phil is right. I wish that Nintendo. That is one thing I hate. So let me just tell everybody the process that I have to physically go through just
Yeah,
to
yeah.
find
Tell
these
us a little.
things.
Yeah, absolutely. That's got to be some work, man.
Oh man, it takes hours and hours of my day. So luckily I work from home and I'm a claim specialist, so I'm processing claims. But while I'm processing claims, I'm also on eBay and on Mercari. And for example, I'll use Pokemon Shining Pearl. one of the I'm really trying to find the most up to date cartridge for this one because Diamond has already been completed. It has a complete on cart version, so that one's done. Pearl is not. So I will literally go through hundreds and hundreds of listings on Mercari and eBay every day to see if I can find this new print of Pokemon Shining Pearl.
Okay.
And if it doesn't work through there, I'll go through Pokemon groups and I'll ask around, hey, does anybody have a new cartridge that you purchased within the last month or so? And is there a such and such revision?
Dang.
I'm looking for a 004 or a 005. Now, keep in mind, Pokemon fans are trash. All right. I just want to say that a lot of them are douchebags. They don't want to help. One asked me to pay them to provide them the information. All you have to do is literally look at the back side of the cart and tell me what the numbers say on the back. That's it. And you're wanting me to pay you for that? You freaking dick. Sorry. Anyway, so that so it besides that, that's the process that I go through every day to try to find new revisions of cartridges. So yes, it takes a lot of
Oh,
work. A lot of people don't think that it does, but it really does. It takes a lot of time. Sometimes, I won't post every single day, and I'm sure you notice that. It's because I'm busy trying to find,
well,
these new
yeah,
these
you're
new
a fucking
cartridges.
paragon, man. Absolute fucking mad lad paragon, and I love it. And again, shitty ass pay me assholes aside, I think what you're
Hmm.
also doing is a fantastic. It's a fantastic example of mutual aid. Here is a
Yeah,
community,
yeah,
for the most part, shitty people aside, coming together to
yeah.
assist
Hmm.
you with a project that's going to help all of us. Like it's
Oh
going to
yeah,
help everyone.
absolutely,
There's no reason to be an asshole with that, guys. Like you're helping all of
exactly,
us with this.
exactly.
Like
Yeah,
that.
we're one community. We love the Switch. We love the games, a lot of them anyway, and we're just trying to make it better for everybody. And like we discussed at the beginning, if you don't want the reprints because you want to have certain glitches or whatever, then get the first prints or the second prints.
It's still useful. It's still useful
And it's
because you
still
know
useful.
exactly which versions have what. So you know that okay, if I wanted that particular glitch, oh shit, I got version 4. Ah, fuck. Gonna have to re-roll on that
Hmm.
one. Like it's still useful even for those people. Like what you're doing is just useful.
Yeah, and you may have noticed that I recently added that part to the spreadsheet.
Yeah.
My team, one of my team members went in and posted like all the previous revisions that we know of, and we tell people like what version it has, what version number it has on there, and all you have to do is go look up those patch notes, and if that patch is for you, then go for that. You know, if you don't want a certain patch, then go for the previous one. That's literally all you have to do. Or if you want a complete version, like me, I'm more of the complete guy,
Yeah,
then go for that
you're
too.
looking for that bright green, yeah. Which I
Yeah,
saw
yeah,
that
yeah.
Omori finally got a fucking complete cart. It's like, God damn it, Omocat strikes
Yes, they
again.
did.
Fuck.
Yep, they did.
Omocat
They did,
strikes
and
again.
they had one complete in Japan for months now. I want to say, and Amori just got a North American copy
Right.
complete.
I love that
And
fucking
uh,
game.
and and just like Phil was saying, there's no way to like really know. So you have to go through eBay listings just to find these things, and it sucks. But at the end of the day, it's kind of worth it if that's what you really want. Um, it's out there. You just have to look for it. You have to put in the legwork. And can I just say that's another thing that does bother me sometimes about the community. Not the good people, obviously, but sometimes like people expect me to do all the work for them, and it's like I can't.
It's
Like
not
I'm
money.
already doing
Yeah.
so much. I'm already doing so much as it is. So you have to do the work and go out there and look for it on eBay yourself. I can't physically help everybody to find what they want. I just can't.
You've done
So
it. You've done enough, man. You've done enough. At a certain point, at a certain point, you can lead a horse to water. You can't make the horse drink. So all
there
you
you
can
go.
do,
Perfect.
you provide that resource, you provide that wonderful database, and if you can't be bothered to use it, that's your struggle. You know,
That's it.
you've done everything you can. There are no heroes left in man, to quote the Proto Man. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
you do. You've done what you can, man.
Yeah. For
So
sure.
you've
For sure.
got 64 feels more like a tech demo over a real game, so I could see that more like a vertical slice, like what they pitched for a proper full 3D Mario game.
Hmm.
I don't know if I'd say tech demo, but vertical slice I like. I think that's like because it certainly was perfected in later games. Odyssey, oh my god, Odyssey.
Oh yeah. Yeah. For sure.
What always bothered me is that fucking Z-axis and how wonky the controls were. I know it was the best they had at the time, but
Right.
you look at a
Right.
game like Zelda Ocarina of Time with the Z targeting, where they set the standard that's literally still used for third person action games to this day. And then you pair that to like the clunkiness of Mario 64, and it always kind of bugged me. The camera in particular. Like Lakitu
Yeah.
is drunk driving that fucking camera the entire game. Like that motherfucker needs to stick to lobbing fucking spikies at you because he ain't good at camera.
Man, if you think the camera is bad on 64, Sonic Adventure is worse. Just saying.
Well, I can imagine. I can definitely
Yes.
imagine.
Sonic, let's just say Sega hasn't done the blue mascot very good the past few years, so
Well,
or
not in
since he went 3D actually.
yeah, not
So, but
it's almost the same problem I had over on my side of things. Yeah, although I did love
yeah,
Sonic the
yeah.
Hedgehog too, and I kind of fell off Sonic. I played Sonic through Sonic 3 and Knuckles, loved all those. Played Sonic Mania, loved the shit out of that.
Oh God, yes.
Played Sonic Generations, which was pretty fucking good, honestly.
Yeah, I loved
Um,
it.
and
Man, I'm the Sonic fan that buys almost every game that stupid hedgehog puts out, and it's I get so disappointed many times.
I was scared though.
Unfortunately.
I was scared when they put out that first movie and they showed off that hedgehog in that first movie. That really
Oh
scared me,
God,
especially
dude.
when they were talking about how part of it was going to be like the plot was like his shoes got stolen or something. I'm like, Sega,
Hmm.
you don't know what you're fucking about to unleash on the world. If you take Sonic's shoes
Oh
off
God.
and you show Sonic's bare feet, you don't understand this community if you do that, Sega. Like, you do not know what you're about to unleash on the fucking planet. Like, do not, I repeat, do not show Sonic the Hedgehog's bare feet. Do not do that.
Man, can I just say I'm so glad they changed his design too, because that design was awful,
It was ass, man.
awful, dude.
It was so weird. It was
I'm
so
so glad
fucking
that
weird.
Chip and Dale, the Disney movie, made a riff against that ugly Sonic. It's so hilarious, but still, it's so oh my God, it was
It had
ugly.
teeth.
But anyway,
It had teeth.
oh yeah, and it had teeth.
Human teeth. It was so creepy. Nightmare fuel.
Yeah, Sega's
Um,
so stupid.
yeah. Have you ever seen Sonic Dreams Collection?
Sonic's Dreams Collection.
Oh
I
fuck.
want to say
I was gonna
yes.
say at some point I'll have to have you back for a round two. We'll have to watch Sonic Dreams Collection live. I want to get a Sonic fan's reaction to that fucking nightmare fuel live. Holy shit. Um
Maybe I haven't, but yeah, we'll have to see because I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
oh my gosh.
And
I
I hate
love
myself,
Sonic.
by the way, for being a Sonic fan. I hate myself for it, but you know,
Don't hate yourself,
it is.
but absolutely hate your fucking fandom. Oh my gosh, like
Oh
I
God, yeah.
I absolutely I won't even buy a Sonic the Hedgehog game in public anymore. Like that shit is ordered
I don't
online
blame
only.
you. I don't blame
I'm
you.
not walking into a store and bringing up Sonic the Hedgehog. I don't want people to look at me shifty eyed and wonder what kind of fucking deviant art I'm into.
Hmm.
Fuck
Yeah,
that.
and the community, there's two communities that are really toxic, and that's Sonic and Pokemon. Those two right there,
Yeah,
the most toxic
I'm not as
communities.
familiar with the Pokemon community. I like Pokemon, but I've never really immersed myself in the community. I know the YouTube community is the most cutthroat motherfuckers on the planet as far as like the actual YouTubers, from what I hear. Like those
Oh
guys
yeah,
are
yeah,
fucking ruthless. Although I do enjoy Weedle Twin Needle. Weedle Twin Needle's fun. Um,
yeah.
Weedle Twin Needle has some really fun edits on some of their battles. Um, so Next up, Victoria says, I think, especially with the N64 being wedded to the physical cartridge, stubbornly resisting the most efficient data storage method at the time, optic disc. Yeah. It's likely that
Yeah,
N64
yeah,
couldn't do much better than Mario 64, especially at the beginning of the console life before been completely exploited and expanded. Yeah.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. And Nintendo messed that whole thing up, man. Because I know that they were supposed to go into this partnership with Sony, and they ended up creating a monster. You know, after they dumped Sony and for Philips or whatever, and
oh yeah, it was Hegelian
yeah,
dialectics essentially. Are you familiar with that terminology?
no, no.
Let me explain this a little bit. So Hegelian dialectics is a terminology. It's problem reaction solution essentially. So essentially what it is that every thesis contains in itself its antithesis or its polar opposite, that conflict is then inevitable. So basically Sony or Nintendo in its battle with Sega. So
Mm-hmm.
they're battling Sega for supremacy. That,
Right,
that that leads to them developing the different optical discs, such as the Philips and the Sony. That
right.
inherently creates within itself its antithesis, the PlayStation, which then shows up and does battle. That battle forever changing both parties. So both parties
Mm-hmm.
change in a synthesis, and that
Yep.
literally played out over the course of that. Nintendo literally birthed their own demon that
Their
essentially,
own competition.
yeah, that essentially
Yeah.
buried them for multiple console generations. Like it's a hell of a
Until the
story.
Switch, pretty much. Yeah.
Uh huh.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, one of the best FPS games ever made, talking about Return to Castle Wolfenstein. Rush Dog says, great point, Victoria, RE the cartridge limitations. Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure those
Mm-hmm.
are the same. I'm sure those were very expensive to buy from Nintendo. That's always kind of a sticking point for Nintendo. Is
As it is right now,
their
even.
proprietary fucking media storage that they make everybody buy from them.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's also downloading the games onto an external hard drive, and then yeah, here's our technical difficulties. Where everybody says technical difficulties will be back after this Zoomercial break, and then everybody can hear, and then everybody can hear, and then we can hear. Okay, so then now we hear Victoria say we can hear. Belmont says there we go. Um, we good to go. Can hear him. Perfect. So on stream, you can play a game for an hour or so and then get a full refund on Steam. You can also buy another copy at a cheaper price and gift it to your friends. Why can't we do that on consoles? Um,
It'd be a start. It'd
it's
be
a
a
start,
start.
but that's not a solution. Yeah, I'm sorry.
No, it's not. It's not.
1 hour of play to get your refund. Having to buy a cheaper copy, get fucked. Fuck off.
Yeah.
Not doing it.
Yeah.
I guess I just won't share on Steam. Um, a selfish prick. Um, for digital to be accepted by me on consoles, Phil One Up says, it's up for them to stop making it a locked ecosystem. Yeah, free digital needs to be
Yeah,
freed on
for
the
sure.
block. We need to utilize blockchain to free digital gaming. 100%.
Yeah.
Make it DRM
100%.
free. Give us a refund option. Competitive prices to PC. Let us gift physical games or digital games. Sorry, that's some drunk coming out, Phil. Sorry, I'm gonna consoles want to be mini PCs now without the perks and freedom of playing on PC. That doesn't work for me. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've been saying for years
Yeah.
that the HD twins and now the 4K twins are just dumbed down PCs hooked up to televisions. That's all they are. They're glorified
Yeah.
PCs.
They really are.
They've abandoned the console trajectory, which is the console is the best of both worlds. The console has its foot in both arcade and PC gaming. It offers the tactile gameplay of an arcade game paired with the larger, more immersive worlds of a PC game. It's the best of both worlds. Now, more and
Hmm.
more, it's just fucking PC games.
It's just PC. Yeah.
Yeah. Phil One Up then says Microsoft has no competition when it comes to PC operating system. It's on every PC. They wouldn't get away with half the shit they did if they had operating system competition. They think their shit don't stink. Well, pay very careful attention to Valve. Valve is building a very interesting siege engine against Microsoft as we speak, and I think we're probably going to see it within the next 5 years. I think Steam Deck
That'd
was
be interesting to see.
I think Steam Deck was a testing ground for that disruption. I think we're going to see it soon. Um, and it's going to rock. If they can pull it off, it's going to rock fucking Microsoft's world.
Yeah.
Splatoon made the Wii U. Rush Dog said. Zoo and I play Splatoon from time to time. I'm always down to play. Yeah, me and Rush get on there and play some Splatoon sometimes. So if you're standing Big Man this weekend and I've got time, yeah, we'll have to rip Big Man on Team Ghost 100%. But
Yeah.
Rush and I stand Big Man. Yeah, we're not mercenaries. We stand Big Man all day long. Big dopey fucking Stingray. Love the dude.
Yep. Yep. Love
Uh,
his design too. He's
oh,
funny.
Big Man's awesome. I like fucking a. So yeah, Team Ghost is objectively the best choice. Well, of course it is. Big Man is chosen Team Ghost. Axmark says this discussion is fire. Well, thank you, Axmark, and
Oh, thank you.
we have a
Appreciate
lot
it.
of these, man. So I'm sure Revised will be back, and I'm sure we'll have many more of these. And again, I don't have a set schedule, man. Like I work for a fucking living. I don't do YouTube for a living, so it's sporadic. But yeah, if you want to check in from time to time and just see if see what I'm up to, you can always catch them on the replay. These won't ever be deleted. I'll keep them on. So if you want to catch them live, I don't know. Maybe you want to subscribe. That's up to you. I don't push that. But you can, but checking in from time to time works too, man. Yeah, I'm always up to something on here, whether it's playing Morrowind, whether it's playing fucking Fear and Hunger and that game that fucking hates my guts, or whether it's these live streams or even putting out an occasional video essay on a Nintendo Switch game I just finished. So, I'll pay you with delicious steak, Zoo Daddy. You'll do no such thing, but I will gladly fly out to Oklahoma and we will eat steak together. Uh, you have the best. You have arguably the best steaks in the world where you're at, buddy. I will. Fuck yeah, I will. I will come out to visit for that. Shareholders Act Mark 38 says the killers of creativity. Um, yeah, I think I agree with that. Actually, I was going to think about
I was gonna say, yeah, I agree with that.
I had to think about that for a second, but yeah, and again, I don't think it's the shareholder model in particular. I think it's the doctrine of infinite growth is my real issue with the shareholder issue. So when you have to be financially beholden to shareholders, um, and not stakeholders, like for example, customers, for example,
Right.
um,
Right.
it's going to yield abuses. And one of those abuses is that in order to continue to give those the appearance of profits, there's a term I hate in gaming. I was actually kind of going back and forth with OJ on Player Essence on his stream earlier in the night. And that was on this idea of fastest selling game. I am so fucking sick and tired of the terminology. The game is the fastest selling game ever. Well, newsflash, guys. This isn't something that really means anything. I'll debate anybody on that. OJ, you're welcome to come on if you're listening, buddy. I'll talk to you again on that. Um, I feel like this is a terminology that is just used to goal shareholders that don't know any better. With population increase, and every game should be the fastest selling game because population growth is a thing. If your game isn't the fastest selling game in a franchise, and the last game came out in 2012 or 2013, and the new game in the franchise comes out in 2023, you've got a fucking problem because there's been 11 fucking years of pop growth in between that. Or even if you want to compare Deluxe to Wonder, there's been 4 or 5 years of pop growth. So the install base is bigger. There's more people on the planet. There's more markets potentially open to you. Every game in your franchise should be the fastest selling game. And here's a shocker, it usually is. And that's why they love this. That's why this is fucking bait to throw, it's slop to throw in the trough for your shareholders. Hey, we got the fastest selling game again, guys. Hey, can you believe that this is like the 9th time in a 9-game series that this is the fastest selling game? Like, yeah, it was fastest selling in 1986. It was fastest selling in 91. It became Mario 64 was the fastest selling. And then Mario Sunshine. Well, Mario Sunshine wasn't the fastest selling, which shows
No,
you
it
how
wasn't.
fucking weak the GameCube was. But
Yeah.
that's my
Yeah.
point. If a game's not fastest selling, that means it's not even keeping up with the population increase. That's a problem. So that
Yeah.
means your game failed. That means your game legitimately failed if it's not the fastest selling game. Fastest selling doesn't mean shit to me. What matters to me is, did the game beat population increase? Now, OJ did make a good point, which is that with a game like Mario, population increase isn't as relevant because that's a game with very long legs that's going to sell for years, right? So I think he made a good point. I think he made a good rebuttal on that. But that's a discussion I definitely want to expand on because I'm so tired of seeing that thrown around. None of these analysts talk about population growth because when you talk about population growth, the dirty secret is most games fall short, man. Most games don't do that good once you bring population growth into things. For example, Metroid, I always use Metroid as an example. Metroid Dread sold 3 million copies. It's still not selling as good as 1986 OG Metroid 1 when you account for all that population growth and the other macroeconomic trends. And everybody take a shot. I finally said it, macroeconomics. Yeah, I know. But yeah, anyway, end of rant. I'm tired of seeing that term, but what do you think, man?
I don't have much thoughts on that, honestly. I really
Yeah,
don't.
that's sales wonk talk. That's sales wonk shit. So
It's
yeah.
this. It's not really. It's not really what I'm specialized in.
Exactly. No,
So
totally understand that. But that'd be more
yeah,
of a that's more of a discussion I'll have with other nerds. Um.
yeah.
So
Hey man, you calling me a nerd? No, I'm just kidding. Yeah.
oh no, I'm calling me a nerd.
No, I definitely am a nerd. It's fine.
Um.
I'm the one that sits there and scrolls through hundreds
That's
of,
very
of
fair.
eBay listings. Come on now.
Right. Yeah, I was gonna say. Yeah, ain't nobody taking that crown, right?
No.
So let's see. Yeah, fucking the Adventure Rebirth, Mad Belmont says. Yes, the Adventure Rebirth indeed. Trapped on the Wii for all time. Thank God for
Mm,
piracy. I can play Adventure Rebirth that way, and I have. Yep, straw hats. Yep, straw hats. Raise your sales.
hey, you
Um,
got to do what you got to do.
I want friend codes gone. Fill one up. Collect says. Yeah, let's.
I agree. I agree.
Yeah, let people. It's shit. Let people find me by username, and it's annoying to remember a long ass number. Also, get
Yep.
dedicated party chat, game folders, and a Nintendo-based trophy reward system. All that, yeah, 100%.
I think opposite for achievements and trophies. I don't want them.
You don't like achievements and
But
trophies?
I do. I just get too addictive to them. So I actually
Oh,
like that Nintendo doesn't have them.
so basically the
So
metagame saves you from. Oh, because you're a completionist. Oh, you're like Gerard.
yes.
Yes.
So
Oh.
yeah. So it drives me nuts.
No,
So for
I get it,
me,
man.
I
I
would
get it.
rather not have them.
No,
So yeah.
100. I get where you're coming from there. Yeah. X Mark.
Especially the ones, dude, where you're like a Sonic game, for example.
Right.
Collect a million rings in your playthrough, and it's like you can beat the entire game, and you only have collected like 300,000, and you still have to get an additional 700,000. It's like, no,
I'm
this
so
is just wasteful time, dude. Like, and of course, me being me, I can't not do it. So then I have to.
I'm so glad I'm game lazy and don't give a shit. I'm so glad. Um, when I'm done with a fucking game, I'm done with it. And I'm so glad for that lazy personality with that.
Man, I
Because
wish I had that.
I was gonna say, yeah,
I
that
wish
sounds
I
like a Gerard the completionist type. That motherfucker completes a game a week.
Yeah, dude, it's.
Fucking
I just did Sonic Superstars for Does It Play, and I played every ounce I could out of that freaking
how
game. And
how is Sonic
mm,
Superstars?
on Switch, it actually runs really well,
Okay,
surprisingly enough.
nice.
And
It's
that's without the patch.
okay.
That's without the patch. 'Cause
Here's the question: Mania or Superstars?
Mania. I'll
Mania.
have to go Mania.
It's
Yeah.
hard to beat
But
for us.
Superstars is really good though. I loved it.
Good to
But
hear. It's hard to beat for us by us. That was made for fans by fans. It's hard to beat.
yeah, oh yeah, totally, totally.
So Keithius LG says eating a double whopper right now, you son of a bitch.
Mm.
I can't
You
remember the
just have to
last.
throw it in our face,
Yeah,
huh?
throw it right in our fucking face, man. Yeah, you know what I had tonight? I literally like this is gonna sound crazy as hell. I had a pickle tonight.
Well,
Like it's just I was in the fridge. I opened the fridge. I got done with a brutal business week. Open up the fridge. There's the pickle. Don't have time to cook.
and now your girlfriend is gonna walk up to the fridge and she's gonna say, "No pickles,
Yeah.
no
Oh, well.
pickles,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
you ate them all."
Yep. No. Yeah. That's well. That's. Yeah. It's okay. We'll negotiate that. We'll negotiate that when the time comes. Like that's fine. We'll figure it out. Eye Patch Wolf is great. Yeah, Eye Patch Wolf is great. I like his content a lot. Eye Patch Wolf might well be, and I don't say this lightly, in terms of editing, Eye Patch Wolf might be the top of the game. Like, if you've ever seen like a screen cap of that guy's, like, you know how you go into OBS and you can see like what all the edits are, and you can see the clip.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm shocked his PC doesn't fucking melt with all that editing and layering, and oh my god, dude, like
No, I can't even
that
imagine.
that dude is a master. I couldn't imagine how long it was. That's why we only get like 4 or 5 videos a year. But every
Yeah, yeah, I can't imagine.
Eye Patch Wolf videos are a fucking event to me. Great guy too. He says, "Poor guy," talking about the work you put out. Yeah, like, yeah, and he does it for our sins, man. So honor him for sure. Phil One Up also says, "Bless this man for his hard work. I wish I had the time for that. I want the most complete cart too, but can't be bothered to do that." Yeah, he's fucking lazy like me. Um, if
Hey,
if only it
can't
was
say I
as
blame him.
if only it was as easy as buying a complete edition. Yeah, since there's
Yeah,
all kinds of, yeah, every fucking. By the way, how fucked is it that we literally market games as complete edition now? How
it's
fucked
stupid.
is that?
But to be fair, there are certain cases where it's not really that difficult to get a better version on the Switch. I'll use a great example.
Okay,
Nintendo, not Nintendo, Nickelodeon All Stars Brawl, the first one, not the second.
right.
Uh, they had the Ultimate Edition, right? That came out with the gold background on it or whatever, and it had all the DLC characters and all that nonsense. Well, they released it here in North America, but of course the DLC is download code and all that stupid stuff. Well, in Japan though, they released it complete on cart with everything on the actual cartridge. And so those kinds of games are easy to find because you could just go to Play Asia and buy it, you know. Um,
Right. Well, and
because you don't have to look at the
oftentimes,
back of the card or anything.
well,
It's just
and they just do a lot better the Asian releases than we do for some reason.
oh
Um,
God, yes they do. Man, I can't even tell you how many Japanese releases are so much better
well, yeah,
out there than they are here.
especially the ones that literally have like multiple indie games on one cart. Like you've got like all the Blaster Masters, all
Yep.
the Bloodstains. Like, yeah, it's some good
Oh,
shit.
dude, I have that. I have the Blaster Master collection. Mwah, love it.
Nice. Yeah,
Perfect.
I got fucking gold into buying fucking limited run games fucking shit. So I have 3 separate carts of like a literal, like, what, a 600 megabyte game. Like, Jesus.
Yeah, yeah.
Phil One Up says, Nintendo revised. This is Phil One Up collects. We should start a second group or a bit sell and trade section of the group to help people get revised cards they want. Let me know what you think of that. Is what Phil One Up collects is proposing.
So on our group on Facebook, I haven't done it on Twitter, but because we started on Facebook,
Okay.
but there's already somebody that's potentially starting that. It's one of our members, not
Okay.
one of us admins or mods, as we're already busy enough as it is.
Right.
But one of the members is we're discussing the details in the background. We haven't like laid out all the foundation of it yet, but
Okay.
the what we're thinking of doing is setting up like 10 people together in groups of people that are interested in doing something like this, and they help each other find the games that they want, because this has worked for us admins. So the admins and the mods, we work together and we say, oh, we found such and such. I usually find the revisions myself, but we help each other find the carts we want once we discover them.
Okay. Coolness. So it looks like they're already a little bit ahead of the game on that. And when he gets that Facebook group up and running, let me know that, and I'll put that. I'll edit that into the description of this video so people have access to that too.
Yeah, I think Phil's already in the group, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh,
I could
cool.
be wrong,
Okay.
but
Coolness.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Phil One
But
Up.
if you're not, it's on the spreadsheet. I have the link for the Facebook group on the spreadsheet itself.
Yeah, and
It's there.
Phil's a legit good dude. He actually put out, if you haven't seen it on YouTube, he's got a rant on the end of like stores selling physical games.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely check out that video. It's pretty epic. I enjoyed it. Very, very good,
Okay.
very funny, and very timely. So yeah, definitely. And Phil One Up Collects would be another great guy to talk to. He's going to share your zeal for physical, just like I do. So yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
for sure.
Definitely get with Phil if you can. He's cool, people. Rush Dog says, "Big man for life, big man for life."
Big
Um,
man for life. Let's
and then
go.
Rush Dog says, "OJ works in marketing, fast selling and best selling makes for good marketing." Yeah, absolutely. And again, that's part of what. Let's adjust for macroeconomics makes for poor marketing. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. No heat on OJ at all. Like OJ's legitimately, he's one of the best at what he does. But I've got it. But as somebody who's trying to get that veil of truth, I got to call out. And it's not just him; it's the whole fucking industry uses that for exactly that reason, that fastest selling. But OJ does make a good case for fastest selling, and especially in regards to like you said with Mario, and he's right. Like when he says, like, we're just looking at different things. Like when OJ says that Nintendo is looking at fastest selling, he's not wrong. Nintendo's looking at fastest selling, and they're happy with that because the investor's going to be happy with that. But let's
Yeah.
adjust for macroeconomics makes for. And by the way, it did do the population increase. So it beat Odyssey. If you do the pop increase from 2017 to 2023, Super Mario Wonder beat Odyssey. It beat it handedly in Japan. 100% beat Odyssey. But like Rush was pointing out, like Rush countered when we were having that discussion, he said, "Yeah, but look at the install base for Switch. It is increased by 800%." So now that's not saying that should be one for one, not on a game that has legs like Mario Wonder, but you have to wonder that, if I'm an investor that's really doing my due diligence, is it disappointing to me that, let's say, instead of 645, why not a million? 2D Mario used to be the biggest fucking Nintendo game. Why isn't 2D Mario doing Zelda numbers its first 3 days in Japan? It should at least be doing Zelda numbers. In fact, it should be doing better than Zelda numbers, but it's not. And so that's what I mean by that. But again, that's getting into nerdy wonk shit. So, well, I'll get into that more in depth with OJ either on his stream or here if he's got time to come back on. But 100%, yeah, no, we're just looking at different things. We're just monitoring different things. But yeah, OJ's the goat, man. Either way. Um, so King Cagney says shot for macroeconomics. That's a joke, by the way. I can't go a fucking stream without mentioning macroeconomics. So they all take a shot when that happens. There are exceptions to the rule, Mad Belmont says, though, such as Castlevania Lords of Shadow being the best-selling game in Castlevania, even after adjusting for macroeconomics and factoring in the Iron Curtain that was still in effect in 2010 when Lords of Shadow 1 came out. Yeah, China's console ban didn't lift until after 2012, I think. It was like 2012 when the console ban lifted in China. So in China, at least. Yeah, no, I definitely get your point there. Yeah. So Lords of Shadow, that was impressive as shit. Yeah, it still beat the macroeconomics there. And then Phil One Up Collect says that's good because we got to stop resellers and scalpers from scalping these revised cards. Bunch of dick bags. Um,
Man, can I just say something on that?
let's say speak on it. Let's do
That
it.
that that is one thing that I hate, that in a way I kind of feel like I perpetuated it to happen. I know that I didn't, and a lot of people tell me that I don't, but it does make me feel bad that people are using the information that I'm putting out into the world to then try to scalp other people out of their money. Example: somebody bought a Metroid Dread. It was the fifth print, which is the last and final print with everything on cart, including that stupid hard mode. But
The one shot.
my
Fuck it.
friend went to, yeah, which nobody's gonna play. But
Yeah,
regardless,
as
my
if that
friend
game's
went.
not hard enough, right?
Right. So my friend went to go buy this game on eBay, and he asked to look at the back of the card because a lot of these eBay sellers, they don't actually show the back of the cartridge or whatever. So he asked for the back, and the seller was like, "Well, why do you need that?" So he explained it, and so after that, he um, he actually changed the price to higher to sell it because after he found out what happened. Now that's not the only person that's done it. So there was another situation that I was involved in, which is Gato Robato with Special Reserves.
Right.
I don't really want to get too deep into it because me and Special Reserves hate each other. I despise that company to death. All right,
You're
and
not the only
but
one.
yeah, I'm not, but I despise Special Reserve to the oh, I can't stand them to the core.
I hear that a lot.
But Gato Robato was printed originally on the cart and it was broken. You could only get to a certain spot, which was the ventilation area. Once you made it there, it crashed immediately every single time. I tested it, I recorded footage of it, and I approached Special Reserves with that information.
Hmm.
Long story short, we ended up getting the cart reprinted through Special Reserves reluctantly, but we did get it done.
Okay.
Well, now people are using that reprint and selling it for triple the amount that it's actually worth. And so it bothers me because that's not the purpose for the reprint, right? It wasn't and it's not the purpose of putting out revision information either. It's not to scalp people. It's to help people. I'm not in this to help others get more money. That's not what this is about. And so for people out there that are doing that, I condemn it. I think it's stupid and I think it's idiotic that you're trying to take advantage of somebody like that because I'm not taking advantage of anybody. I'm literally giving out information for free out of the kindness of my heart, and I'm putting in all of this work for you to turn around and try to sell the game for double the price. It's unfair. But that's my thoughts on that.
Well, I don't want you to feel too bad about that. A system is what it does, and this is a system
No,
that
for
is
sure.
a system is this is a system, an economic system we live in that literally exists to build that thing. So you can, no matter what altruism we put into the world, it's going to be corrupted by people that take advantage of that. Because
Oh,
because
absolutely.
our system allows for that. It's that lyrics. What's that lyric of that song? It's we would build cities in a day. Um, Men would cower at the sight. We will build towers to the heavens. Man was not built for such a height. We will build. We will be heroes. We will build heroes, and it's just kind of a
Yeah, yeah,
juxtaposition on our intentions versus what the system will twist those intentions into. So I don't want you to
yeah,
feel
yeah.
responsible for the way that some bad actors twist your good intentions.
Right,
You can
right.
only do. I feel like you can only do what you can do there. You're trying to do something good, and I think for the most part, it is a vast majority good. But
Right, right.
there is always some bad that comes with that because there are predators that will take advantage of any situation. And those people
Mhm.
should be called out and they should be shunned and they should be exiled from the community. That's how that should be
Yeah,
handled.
absolutely.
And then that would
Absolutely.
be an incentive for them to not do that. Um,
Absolutely.
I guess that's my piece on that. But yeah, 100%. Keep doing what you're doing, man. Don't let it get to you. A vast majority of people, again, a vast majority of people are using your tools in order to complete a collection in a legitimate way.
Mhm. Yeah,
Um,
I know.
so yeah, just absolutely. So let's see what we've got here. So I'm already there. So Phil is in the group. I'm just quiet because premium keeps me busy. He says. I'll be
I get
down for
that.
buying those revised carts in the group. So keep me updated. Phil says on what
Okay.
happens with that. It's
Cool.
not your
Cool.
fault. It's similar to how guns are in the hands of a person. It's either used to protect or do harm. Phil says. So keep doing what you're doing. Don't let those jerks discourage you. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
That's true.
And he then says, "Oh, special reserves got me so pissed.
Oh
I
god.
still don't have my PlayStation 5 physical. Now we can play it for free on Switch. I sent an email yesterday and said refund or cancel my order. Y'all fuck this release.
He
I
must be talking about Cult of the Lamb on that one, I think.
Yeah, Cult of the Lamb. I still don't have my Cult of the Lamb either, man.
Man, and the way
Don't
they
feel bad.
handled that release is ridiculous. Like that's another issue that came about with after Gato Roboto. I think that finally people are beginning to realize that there's a scummy company. I have called them out many times, and I will continue to do so. Screw Special Reserves and SRG Eric, which handles a lot of the social media.
Okay.
F him.
Okay.
Just
So
that's all I gotta say.
so in full disclosure, I have a policy in terms of this. So Special Reserve Games, SRG Eric, if you're willing to. Um, since we have directly commented on you, you have an open invitation to come on the show and address any criticisms. Please note, I I will push back a little bit because I've had some bad experiences with y'all too. So it's not going to be. I'm not. And again, I'm your energy. So long as you guys are cool, I'm
Yeah,
willing
for
to
sure.
talk to you. But I would love an opportunity for you to come on and defend some of this shit and see what we can talk about. I don't necessarily know that you're going to, and the reason I say that is because again, I'm not going to give you softball questions on this. I've got some serious fucking concerns, not only on Gato Roboto, which I do have, and now that I'm hearing about this, but on the whole way Cult of the Lamb is handled. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's not good, guys. It's not good, but
No.
I want to give an open invitation right here and now for SRG Eric or somebody who works for Special Reserve Games. Open invitation to come on the show and discuss and rebut that if you'd like. Want to give you that opportunity. Don't think you'll take me up on it, but it's invitations out there. Maybe you surprise me. So
I will say that if a company does receive criticism, which it's bound to happen with every single company that exists, you can't go off blocking people just for getting said criticism.
oh Jesus, are
I
you
ne- I
serious?
Yeah, they blocked me, and that was the
Bro,
tooth and nail for me. Now I will say I
bro.
never threatened them. I never cursed at them because I don't cuss. As you noticed, I said "f him." I didn't actually say
No,
the
no, you're
word,
you're
but
you're
I don't.
you're doing an absolute saint. You're making up for you're the saint to my sailor for sure.
You're right. So, but I didn't threaten him. I didn't cuss at him. I didn't do any of that stuff. And yet he blocked me from Discord, Facebook, and Twitter solely because I was coming after the company for printing out a faulty cart with Gato Roboto. And so ever since that moment, I despise that company and will never support them again. So if Eric does ever come on here and I'll listen, but if it were me, I would not be nice with him. I'm just saying, but that's just me.
Well, and I get that. Again, but I can't. I don't want to promise to be too brutal because then he won't come
No,
on.
I get you. I get you.
But I'm not gonna be the nicest either because you're talking to another unhappy customer. It sounds like you're talking to
Right,
another
right.
satisfied customer when you talk to me. I do have
Yeah,
some
yeah.
issues with y'all, which sucks because you had a beautiful edition of Ape Out. Ape Out was one of my favorite
Oh
games.
God, yes,
Fucking
I
loved
have
that.
it.
So again, full
Yeah,
full
for sure.
disclosure, guys, I loved your Ape Out. Like that was amazing. Discworld was really cool. Um,
Messenger.
the fucking messenger. You guys have
Yeah,
some good shit, and honestly, you guys have the
yeah,
keys to the fucking kingdom with Devolver Digital. So again,
yeah.
I don't think anybody is coming at this. And just speaking for me, and I'm sure you'll consent to this as well and concur with this. I don't think anybody's coming at this from an angle that we want to see your company crushed. I don't think that's the case. We want you to be your best because you have some fucking golden tickets, man, and we just want to see
I
those done
used to think that
justice.
way, but I don't anymore. I don't anymore. Sad to say, but
Okay.
I don't anymore. Now, that's not to say that I'm proud to say that I would love people to lose their jobs. I don't. I'm not saying that
Right, right.
for because for people that aren't involved that are just working there to
People
make their
gotta
ends
earn.
meet.
People gotta earn. Yeah.
Yeah, for those people, I feel awful saying something like that. But at the end of the day, for people that actually run the company, I don't care. I just don't care. Not anymore, and that's just the way I feel about it. But
Well,
but yeah,
that's how I always target my barbs too, is toward the executives, because again, the
right,
wonks that are
right.
in the trenches, they don't have a say.
No, they don't have a single thing to do with those, for
So
sure.
yeah, alrighty. So again, open invitation. Whether you exercise it or not, that's up to you. Probably don't even know who the fuck I am, but it's out there. So then Rush Dog says First Press Games deserve some criticism too. Uh, 1,000% of a totally different variety, which is the fact that I don't know that First Press Games has even ever shipped a goddamn game yet.
I don't have much knowledge about them,
Yeah, because they don't
but I
ship
have heard some
anything.
stories.
They don't
But I have
ship
heard some
anything.
stories. Yes. Yeah, yeah.
Where the
And see that kind of stuff is ridiculous. Like if a consumer gives you money, send them their product. That
I
is
I
just that simple.
I've been waiting for Crimson Clover World Explosion for over 2 years now.
That's
They
ridiculous.
they they also licensed Chained Echoes, one of the best fucking RPGs of the last decade or so. And so that
And see, uh, it's this one's a difficult topic for me, but only because of this reason. The timing constraints, I understand why somebody would get upset, especially if it's been 2 years long where you're still not getting your
ah,
product that you paid for. I completely empathize and sympathize with that. The only argument that I have because of the project that I work on is as long as that time is being used to put the entire package into that cartridge, including all the patches and updates, then and you're actually telling the consumers that, hey, a new patch is coming out soon, so we're going to wait to print the cartridge. Personally, by all means, please wait because I would rather have that complete experience, right? But that, but at the same
100%
time,
agree.
you have to be transparent about that information. And if you're not being
Yes.
transparent, that's the issue. And you're not communicating with your customers, that's an issue.
Yeah.
Which which brings up the other thing that I've been going on Twitter about often, which is kind of a segue to a different conversation, but still, it still applies. These companies that aren't telling people that a download is required for their game and not disclosing that information prior to somebody buying that product, it's wrong and it's false advertisement. Period. Period. I don't care what nobody says. You can come to me and defend it all day long, and I will chew you the hell out because that's it. Period. You need to know that up front. Why are people now finding out that Star, what it was it called again? That Star or
Star
something
Ocean
game,
second story
Star Ocean.
remaster complete whatever.
Exactly. And it's a remaster of a freaking old game. Why is it that people are just now finding out that a download is required because we're just now getting the hands or the game in hand? Why wasn't that something that was disclosed? Oh, I don't know, before they pre-ordered it? It's
We've been
just
we've been taking it on the chin really hard the last little bit as far as us physical game owners because it also brings to light the Metal Gear Solid situation. And part of that
oh
is
god.
there is so much fucking information, misinformation, cross information, false information.
Yeah.
I still don't know what the fuck to make of that cart. I don't know what the fuck is on there. There's literally Reddit threads where it's like, nope, it's got everything
I
except
can tell
bonus
you.
material. Yeah,
I
please,
can tell you what's on
please.
there.
I am fucking confused.
So with the Metal Gear Solid collection, you're literally just getting the 4 ROMs for the 4 original games, basically, which is Metal Gear for the MSX, Metal Gear for the NES, Snake's Revenge, I think it's called, and Metal Gear Solid or Metal Gear 2 Solid Snake.
Yeah,
Those
yeah.
are the only titles that are on that cart. Everything else
Okay.
from Solid 1, 2, 3, and the bonus content, which is like the artwork and all that stuff, download.
Konami can suck my nuts on that.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
will buy that
Exactly.
game. I will buy that game when it is in a Bomba bin for $5 to $10
For five
used
bucks, yeah.
and
Yep.
used. I'm not even going to buy it new.
Yep.
I don't want to give you the sale.
Yeah, exactly. Because at that point, at least you have ROMs for $5, that you can own. But
Well,
why
and
would
that's
I
my
pay
policy.
40
Yeah,
to 50, $60 for stuff that I have to download and it takes like 21 gigabytes? No, thank you.
yeah. Fuck that, man. It's just like
Yeah,
that's
no,
my
thank you.
policy though. Like a good example of this is the new Arkham game that's coming out. So Arkham's not coming complete on disc. And fine,
Right. Right.
I made my peace with that. But
At least they're being honest about it too.
yeah, they were honest up front, and they do have
Hmm.
Arkham Asylum, a game that I badly want to play. So what's going to happen is when that game gets either new or
Sale.
used to $30 or $20, probably 20 because it's 60, right?
Hmm.
And there's
Hmm.
supposed to be 3 fucking games. I'm only getting one game on the disc. So
Right.
when that game gets to $20, I will buy
Yeah.
Batman Arkham Legacy Collection. Same
That
with
makes perfect sense.
Same with the Mega Man games. The Mega Man collections. I don't really care about Mega Man X 5 and up. I don't give a shit. I wanted Mega Man X 1 through 4. So that was the perfect buy for me. I waited till that game got to like $30, $20, bought the game. Don't give a
Makes
shit
sense.
about the same with Mega Man's 1 through 6. All the Mega Mans I wanted that I had nostalgia for came on the first disc.
We're on the cart, yeah.
Now you want to really piss me off? Let's go to Capcom and the Resident Evil Origins collection, where they put the wrong fucking game on the cart because the Resident Evil remake, which is a brilliant fucking game, is the download, and Resident Evil 0 is the game on the fucking cartridge. Still.
Oh yeah,
I
yeah,
will
dude,
never
that's
be able
so
to own
stupid.
Resident Evil 0 on the Switch because of that boneheaded fucking decision. It's bullshit.
Yeah, that was stupid. Another one that really pisses me off is Activision Spyro's trilogy.
Yeah, not a single game on the cart. Not a single.
Well, not to its completion. You can only beat the first world of every title. That's
That
it.
is the
Just the first
worst way.
world.
Yeah, BioShock also did that.
BioShock also, yes.
Yep, BioShock,
I
XCOM,
actually
all those
tested
fucking games.
Spyro. I actually tested Spyro for Does It Play, and I was the one that made that review on there because literally that's all you can do is just the first world, and that's it. Nothing else is on the cart.
I might have been the first one to do that with Wolfenstein: The New Colossus, because keep in mind, I don't download shit when I review my games. I only download what's on the. I only review what's on the disc, and so
Mhm.
my review for Wolfenstein: The New Colossus actually stops when she cuts your fucking head off halfway through the game, or a third of the way through the game, because that's where the game stops. The game literally ends there if you haven't downloaded the additional data. I might be the only person in the
Wow.
fucking world that ever played that game without the additional data. But I can
Well,
tell
I
you
did
for
the
a
same
fact,
thing with LA Noir. I did
where
the same thing with LA Noir.
where does LA stop?
LA Noir stops after. Okay, so you could do the first missions under. I forget what it was called, but it's like you're a city cop or whatever. You could do all the missions under city cop, but then when you go to like Vice or something like that, there's only like 2 missions there, and that's it.
And then the game
And
stops.
and it
Oh
just and
man.
just stops. And so you're missing everything else on Vice. You're missing like 3 other stories, I
Yeah, because
think.
there's vice, there's like murder, arson. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're
You're
missing all of that.
you're missing like you
All of
only
that.
got like a little over a fourth of the game. Like, damn.
Pretty much. Yeah. As soon as I tested it, I sold it. I was like, screw this. I'm not keeping this crap.
Right.
What's the point?
So it says, let's see. I wish we could have released Chained Echoes. Would have been a great premium release. Yeah, Phil, I wish you guys would have got that too, because you actually ship games, so that would help.
I would love to say that Premium Edition Games is one of the best limited print companies
Oh, did you hear?
that
Wow.
I've
Okay.
ever dealt with.
There you go. There you go, Phil. That's high fucking praise.
Yeah, they literally have everything on the cartridge every time.
Heard it here,
Never
guys.
fails. Haven't failed me yet. That's all I gotta say.
And then Phil says, "Yep, that's why we delayed Rack and Ruin on PlayStation because of the trophy bug. We got physical trophy patches you
There
can
you go.
earn, so that's not good if we put out the physical with the big in it." Yep.
Yep,
Rush
there you
Dog
go.
says, "Don't do it, Zoo. You'll get the icons for MGS 1, 2, and 3 on your Switch home screen. Not if I fucking delete them, I won't. But no, I have to do that every time I pop the card in. That's a bad trade for 4 ROMs. Yeah, you're right. Fuck that. Like, just no. You're right.
No, no,
Um,
it's not
let's
worth it.
see. That MGS release I'll get on sale on PlayStation, which it is all on the PlayStation, my understanding is, Phil. So,
My
yeah,
understanding, yeah,
if you want a
yeah.
great collection, though, get the PS3 360 Legacy Collection. I do have a PS3, so that that might be
Hmm.
yeah.
At least the options there.
Capcom gets partial credit for at least labeling the cartridge with the game that's on there. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Example:
yeah, but you
Resident
can't see that. You can't see that through the case, though. Is the problem? So,
right. For example, Resident Evil Triple Pack card is labeled Resident Evil 4, but like you just said,
mhm.
for people that don't do their research, that's a problem. Now I knew that, but will the average
Yeah, I
soccer
did
mom
too.
who wanders into GameStop know that?
Although to be fair, with that one, at least Resident Evil 4 was on the cart. At
Exactly. That was the
Thank God.
right choice.
Thank God.
It was the only one I wanted. So again, I bought that
Can
for
you
the game.
imagine if they put RE6 on that thing? No, God, no.
Well, actually, Jay from Cold Nights is a Resident Evil 6 fan, and this game gets
I,
endlessly shit on. And so
it's okay.
I'm willing
It's
to hear it
okay.
out, but
It's okay. It's okay.
I
But
agree.
Resident Evil 4, mm,
I was gonna say because my boy Jay from Cold Nights, another awesome dude, awesome content creator. But yeah, he talks about it like he says that game does get a little bit of a bad rap, but you're saying it's okay, so it's not as bad as everybody makes it out
no,
to
it's not horrible.
be.
It's
Okay,
not horrible. No, 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 no. I really despise. And here's another thing about me. There's a
but it's
lot of
not
people
for.
out there that will say, well, it's not for, but there's a lot of people out there that will just pan something and like absolutely destroy it when it's really not that bad. If you actually take a moment and take a step back and actually take it for what it is, it's not bad. It's really
And
not that bad.
sometimes a game can be so bad it's good, just like The Room, the movie The Room.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Like
But
you got
even RE6 isn't bad. It's just it's a 6 out of 10 maybe.
ooh.
You know.
See, the worst thing a game to me can be is mediocre. Like if a game is funny dog shit, or if a game is a masterpiece, like the iPass Wolf always throws out the example, the mediocre valley. So take Cowboy Bebop, which is on the opposite end, where it's just a goddamn masterpiece. And then on the other end of that spectrum, which is not great but entertaining. So it's great and entertaining. That's Cowboy Bebop. Then you've got
Hmm.
not terrible but very entertaining, and that's The Room. And then somewhere in the
Hmm.
middle, you have the mediocre valley, which are things that are not great nor are they entertaining. That's where you
Hmm.
don't want to be.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so
But
and
the
then
thing about Resident Evil 6 is that I had fun playing certain characters. So like Leon from Resident Evil 4, I actually had fun with that section of the game. But then
right.
when you play as other characters, it's like meh, you know. So it's just one of those things.
Oh, Phil One Up Collect says I will watch the Sonic Dreams collection. Um, and, but will the buyer beware, Phil? You are now sworn to that. We're gonna watch that in a live party, and I cannot wait to see your reaction to that shit. Player Essence is in the house. Hey, welcome in, buddy. Hey, we actually mentioned you a little bit on the difference between fastest selling versus pop growth. And we'll definitely have to talk about that when you come back on, man. Thanks, OJ's in the house. Thanks for stopping in, man. But definitely want to talk to you a little bit more about that and expand upon that. You had a pretty good rebuttal to that, but I do want to expand on that because this whole idea that population growth is not a thing, like, as a macroeconomic analyst, I want to talk to you about that. But I'm sure we'll get into that more when we get into like our sales wonk discussion later on. So we've got where were we at here? We've got obviously you do want, of course, I'm just projecting. No, I don't necessarily want it anymore. No, fuck that. Like, yeah, just for ROMs, like it's that Metal Gear Solid release I'll get on sale on PlayStation, but if you want to great, we already been through that. Capcom gets partial credit for at least labeling the cartridge with the game that's on there. Yeah,
Mhm.
I've already read that. Let's see. I only got the HD collection version. I still need a legacy collection, but it's getting like 70 plus on eBay. Damn.
Mm, mm.
Thank you for the compliment. We aren't limited print though. Yeah, anytime that so you want to take a shot.
Oh
Anytime
well,
Phil
that's true. That's
anytime
true.
Phil One Up Collect says, actually, we're not a limited print company, you can take a shot because that every time I'll do the same fucking thing. I'll be like, yeah, this is a great limited company. Well, we're not limited.
I kind of consider them as such only because their games eventually do go out of stock. So it's not like they stay around forever,
Right,
you
but
know.
I
So
think
it,
they do second chances though.
eh,
Yeah, so
they do, they
it's
do,
one of
they do.
those. It's one of those borderline, but we'll take him at his word. It's not. So again,
Right,
guys,
right.
not a limited publisher. So,
Still a great company though.
but still a fantastic company.
Yeah,
Rush
I
Dog
agree.
says partial credit. AD. It's not horrible. It's just too much in poor pacing. Too much in one damn game. Some parts are better than others. Resident Evil 6 just went on too long. Yeah, Player Essence says incredible stream tonight, guys. Thank you, man. That means a lot, man.
Thank you.
You're one of the goats as far as streaming goes. So, yeah, if you guys haven't ever experienced, I know you've probably seen his videos. If y'all have not watched a Player Essence stream live, go do that. It's so much fun. Um, Now, OJ popping in, you came up in the discussion a few times. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because we were talking about OJ in terms of the Nintendo charity thing, the rules for Smash, and then he also came up in the fastest selling portion of the discussion. Yeah. So, oh God, I'm in trouble. Phil, what up? Collect says, oh no, you're not. You're not. No, not at all, man. You are absolutely not a limited publisher, and you made that clear. You're not in trouble, man. If anybody says you're in trouble, I will fucking fight them on the internet. So, um, okay, so I think that they're in, at least for now, we're caught up on chat. But holy shit, that was a lot of chat. Last thing I like to do before we go on, you've now broken our record, by the way. So congratulations on that, man. In terms of time. So yeah, you were not
Nice.
kidding. We are both two talkers. I want to give
I
you an
told you.
opportunity. Is there anything you want to ask of me that I haven't covered? Any questions you have for me? I always like to give the guest an opportunity to kind of give me some rapid fire, like I've been doing them all fucking night.
uh, I don't have any questions per
Okay.
se. No. I would like to I guess use this opportunity to raise some awareness about something though that's not really game related, but it's really important to me nonetheless.
Absolutely. You can
If
say
you
any.
don't mind me
You can
doing
say
that.
it doesn't have to be game related. You can say anything you want to talk about here.
So I have my son is 8 years old,
Okay.
and when he was born at about 2 weeks, we found out that he was diagnosed with a medical condition which is unfortunately life threatening.
Oh goodness.
Uh, called cystic fibrosis, and
Oh no.
yeah, so
Okay.
he's had a really rough life, in and out of the hospital kind of thing, and we have him on good medication now, so he's been able to maintain out of the hospital for about a year
Okay.
now. So we're thankful on that. But yeah, I always try to raise the opportunity to raise awareness to what cystic fibrosis is because a lot of
Okay.
people don't know what it is, and
Vicious stuff. Yeah. So
yeah,
yeah,
for those that
yeah,
don't,
tell them a little bit about it. Yeah, because I know what it is, but I
for
don't know if
those
everybody does.
for those that don't know, cystic fibrosis is basically where mucus develops in very vital organs such as the lungs or pancreas. And what that mucus does, since it overdevelops, unlike a normal lung that doesn't do that, when it overdevelops, it causes a lot of infections. It causes a lot of people to where they can't use their lungs properly. And over time, that those infections and that it starts deteriorating their lungs and their pancreas, which of course we all know is really vital to breathe. And so he uh he's been in the hospital many times with things, oxygen tanks tied up to him and stuff, and it's
Mm.
sorry, it's just really hard to talk about,
It's okay, man. It's okay, man.
but yeah, it's he means a lot to me. He's my baby boy. He's my first blood child, and so
Oh goodness.
anything I can do to, like, put his name out there. His name is Alex, and I'm always you know advocating for Team Alex over here. That's and
100%,
part of the
man.
reason why I do what I do and I put so much effort into it is so that I'm not constantly thinking about him and his condition. So because back in 2019 I was really depressed and I almost off myself at that point because of this whole situation. And so I have to keep myself busy. And that's why I go so gun ho on everything. So I need people to understand that when they see me and I get super emotional, yeah, I'm a little unbalanced sometimes, but I have a reason, you know, and it's because things aren't easy. And I may not display that all the time, but there's a lot of stuff going on, which is why, you know,
Well said, homie. I mean,
uh,
we've all had different life experiences. We've all read different books. It's important to realize that every person is going through a battle that you don't know about. And a lot
yep.
of people don't wear that on their sleeves, man. A lot of people go through with that shit tucked in them. And
Hmm.
I appreciate that you feel open and comfortable enough on my show to share that. I just want to thank you for sharing that. And if anybody's left in the chat, please give some A's for Alex. Definitely. That
Appreciate that.
100%, guys. And we will all keep your son in our thoughts. He's absolutely part of the zoo crew honorary. 100%, man. Um,
Appreciate that.
you betcha, man. And if you ever need to talk anything like that, you can always DM me. I'm always down, man. I like to be that person that people can lean on. So um,
I appreciate that.
and I mean, and we appreciate the work you do. And we how old's your son now?
He's 8. He's 8 years old,
Eight
and
years old.
he's actually an amazing gamer himself. I know that we were talking earlier
Nice.
about the goat of Castlevania. This little dude beat Cuphead at the age of 5.
Oh my god! You
Um,
haven't beat Cuphead yet.
yeah, he beat
Holy
Cuphead at the
shit!
age of 5. He beat Super Meat Boy at the age of 5 years old. He's he's even beat the old Mega Man X game, Mega Man
Nice.
X 1, 2, and 3. I mean,
Um, that fucking
dude's gonna
spider,
be a little legend.
that spider on Mega Man X, that is a beast of a boss. So they used to kick the shit
Yeah,
out of me getting to that spider, and the first boss of Sigma's lair, that fucking thing. So yeah,
yep,
if
yep,
he can
yep.
beat that at 8 years old, he's doing better than I ever fucking did.
Yeah, he's
But
a little legend, man. He has a gift for sure. He
So
has a gift.
medicine has advanced rapidly. With my understanding is of cystic fibrosis, and perhaps I'm ignorant of this, but how's the prognosis in terms of the medication and the treatments? Has it? I know back when I was a kid in the '90s, that was a bad deal, and my
Oh yeah, yeah,
understanding
yeah.
is that has skyrocketed now. Is that partially true, or I'm really got my fingers crossed that that's absolutely true, and I've heard that they've had a ton of breakthroughs in that.
So there is a new medication named Trikefta that he's actually
Trifecta.
on.
Okay.
Yeah, and it actually has done a lot of. They call it a miracle drug because it kind of is. Where
Right.
it's actually gotten people that have really low lung capacity to where they can finally breathe somewhat normally again.
Beautiful.
And and like I said, he's been out of the hospital for a year now, ever since he's been on that,
Okay.
consistently.
So is that a
And
fairly new
so
thing?
yeah, it's
Okay.
fairly new.
Okay.
He didn't get approved for it right away because he was too young. The only side effect to that though is that it does, harm uh, another organ in the process, which is the liver.
Oh. Okay.
But so that's the only bad thing about it. And so he had to be taken off from it for a little while because his liver levels were way too high at
Okay.
one point.
But so it can be a
And so
balancing act. It's not like a
it
temporary.
could be
You just balance it out.
right.
Okay. And again,
Yeah, and
I'm
he
assuming
is
that
on
the
a
I'm assuming the liver effect is not going to be nearly as severe as having the cystic fibrosis do its thing. So
my um understanding is that no. Now
okay.
we did get some good news recently, which
Oh,
so I'm not gonna say this is all doom and gloom, but
okay.
when he first got tested, they do this test where they test the what is it, like his salt levels, like in his skin, and that's how you determine if you have cystic fibrosis. They put this machine around your arms to test, like, or your sweat. It's like the sweat test is what it's called.
Okay.
And so what they do with the sweat test is if it's super elevated, you have cystic fibrosis. And if it's not at those numbers, then you don't have CF or whatever.
Okay.
And so of course he has it. They were super elevated when he was 2 weeks old when we got him tested and all that. Well, we recently got him retested with a sweat test, and he was actually 1 point under the non-CF line. So the Trikefta is working.
It's it's
Basically, is what I'm
it's
trying to say.
it's
That
it's starting to
that's insane.
so is it possible that this could be reversed? Is that
It's
possible?
not curable. It's not curable because he
Okay.
can't go off the medication at any point because, of course, his levels would just rise back up again. But
Okay.
in essence, based upon if we keep doing what we're doing, he's gonna. We're hoping that he's just gonna be a healthy, normal child.
Okay. So
So.
basically, with this medication, if used in the proper dosage and the proper times, we're
Mhm.
talking life expectancy of does it get us back to typical?
Right now, the life expectancy is about 40 years old.
That is,
which to
which
me
is that's
personally,
no, that's not enough.
it's not enough.
Not
It's
enough.
not enough. It'll never be enough.
No,
But
no. Well,
but
compared
it's
to what it
better
used
than
to,
where
oh
it
my
was.
gosh, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Again,
Because
there was a
people were dying in their teens
yeah,
back in that time.
yeah. I knew somebody who literally that happened to. Yeah,
Yeah,
it used to be a bad deal, and again,
yeah,
that's
yeah, for
we
sure.
got a long way to go. But here's an encouraging thought that I want to leave you with. Medicine will continue to accelerate. Medicine will
Mm-hmm.
continue to evolve. Who's to say that by the time it gets more dire that they won't have another thing that can either push that up
Yeah,
or
yeah,
cure it.
yeah. And that would be amazing. That
Hmm.
would be amazing.
So
That would
we'll,
be
we
definitely
will keep
amazing.
that hope alive, and I think everybody in the chat, a lot of love being sent. Rush Dog says we'll keep
Appreciate that.
Alex in my thoughts for sure. I'll keep you and your son in my prayers, bro. Sending you love and support. Phil One Up says so.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, we got your
Thank
back
you.
always, dog. Always.
Thank you.
So
Thank you. Anyway, I didn't mean to turn this all into sad
no,
stuff, but
no,
I
that's
just
I'm honored that you feel comfortable sharing that on my stream with everybody. I'm honored, so I appreciate that. And I guess with no questions for me, I guess I'll end. I've got one last question for you, and that
yeah,
is,
yeah.
did you have fun tonight?
Yeah, this was cool, man. This is my first time ever doing this, and
First time
I was
ever.
really nervous. I was really nervous. I mean, I've done YouTube before, but I've never done like a podcast interview type of thing.
Like live.
So no, yeah, and like live on YouTube, I've never done that
Yeah.
before. So, but yeah, no, it was cool.
Well,
I really enjoyed it. I think we had good conversation. And yeah, I would love to do it again
oh,
someday.
we'll definitely have you on a round two, homie. Definitely.
Yeah.
That will definitely happen. Believe that as the formerly corny and now pretty compelling man, as Stan Roman Reigns used to say. Uh, so, all righty. Well, that said, guys, I think we're going to end the cast here. Thanks everybody for coming out. Love you all, and go ahead and get out of here. And I say that with love. Take care. Have a good night.
Sounds
And
good.
if you want to stay on with me for just a quick minute, we'll have kind of do an after stream denouement. But we're gonna go ahead and kick everybody out of here, and the public, the pool is closed. So
All right, cool.
take care, guys. Have a great night. Love y'all.
Take care, everybody.